Hey everybody, how's it going? First time back with Other Skies for a while, so it's cool to get back into this, but just wanted to say welcome back. We're starting kind of a new little bit of a mini arc now, so that's cool. But yeah, well met, I'm Cynycal, this is my channel. All around me here is Other Skies, which is a gritty science fiction game set in a setting of our own creation that uses the Traveler / Cepheus engine rule set with some modifications. Because this is a tabletop role-playing stream, we'll mostly be focusing on the game, so if you don't get a response in chat, just know that we really appreciate you guys being here in our streams. Everybody's welcome, just keep it civil, and let's go ahead and start the sound and introducing everybody. Alright, here we go. Whoops, it's a little loud for me. Let me fix that. I think it just needs to be adjusted once and then it fixes itself. Yep, there it goes. Weird bug in the system. Oh, we got a fifth member here. Well, I guess a sixth. Darth Pug over here. Super cute. Okay. So these are my friends. Together we are COFHRPG, a group of people that have been playing in Connected Worlds together, some of us for decades. Let's go ahead and introduce each of them individually. He's played a tavern keeper who once helped slay 2 cosmic dragons, a grizzled space detective that planted a psychic tree, and a feeder of 2 hit dice ghouls. They usually solve my puzzles. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself there, Venom, and talk a bit about your character and what's going on.
Yeah, so I'm Lord Venom 1. Hey, everybody. I play Paris Harkrow, who is a
Nice.
grew up on Luna, Artemis Station area, and went to school for journalism. Kind of became a pretty successful journalist, but through that process, kind of saw a little bit, saw the system a little bit, met real people and real struggles, and that kind of got her interested in getting a little bit more hands-on with the solar system, and she joined up to be a traveler.
Awesome. All right. Following that, they've been a megacorp heir searching for their lost parents, a ruin-delving historian seeking to prove his father's theories, and a reluctant space captain who was an expert at crash landings. A good friend of mine and a member of Screen Room. Why don't we go ahead and introduce you, Mad Cow, and your character and such.
Yeah, what's up, Mad Cow? Yeah, so I guess Isaac was born on Earth and went to school and then decided to move out to Luna and became like a helper at a hospital for a little while and met Paris and ended up going out into space with Paris for a while, and that ended up making me really want to, you know, go out and do the traveler thing. Got that traveler bug. So that's kind of what started my route out there, and I have a little bit of a connection with Bailey, which haven't introduced yet, but so we knew each other a little bit as well.
That sort of brought you guys together eventually. So
Yeah.
finally, since you mentioned them, they've played a traveling hedge wizard that sealed themselves away for near eternity, an alien merchant engineer with a very incompatible sleeping pattern, and a 3-foot-tall homicidal former prisoner. One of my oldest friends, a moderator for this channel, as well as the Screen Room community, and kind of all of our community in general, all the COFHRPG stuff. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Psycho, as well as talk a bit about your character.
Hello, I'm Psycho. I don't know, not a lot to say about me, but I play. I play Bailey. I don't know what that's for. He is a pilot, flyboy. He's been dreaming of flying big ships real fast since he was little, so that's what he's out here doing.
Makes sense why he would get into it, like, right away. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Bailey is the youngest member of the crew as well.
He's 30 years old. I don't know if that's
30.
youngest or not.
Yeah, what is everybody else's age?
34.
34.
Isaac's 26.
26. Isaac's the youngest, the young genius.
Yeah,
Baby.
I'm also listed 30.
30, okay. Good
Yeah,
to know. Good to know.
Bailey's the only one that was, I think, born out in the Jovian system.
That is right. So the deepest of the spacers. All right, so let's go ahead and get
Oh, I didn't
into
go.
our. You didn't go. Did I skip over you?
You skipped him.
Yeah.
How did I skip
Bad.
over you?
Mentioned Bailey.
Oh, you're
no.
right. It's because of the yeah. I have a little check mark that I checked to make sure I go through each of you, and I accidentally checked him, and so it checked you at the same time.
You pre-checked it.
Yep.
You didn't
Yep.
tell him he's off the team?
Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead
This is how
and
you
disable.
tell me.
Hold on one second. There we go. He's gone. Nice
You
and
give me the
comfortable.
Madcast controller.
Okay.
We had Lean die
That's a joke.
last,
He's
last
not out.
campaign. So.
I turned you off on the stream if you didn't notice. If you didn't notice. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and introduce you. They played an amnesiac psychic experiment with a great haircut. That's a joke. They didn't have hair. A pacifistic space surgeon that was obsessed with an old television series, which would still be in the future for us, and a wild man with an upset tummy. Their first character they played was somebody else's. Go ahead and introduce yourself and your character, Society.
Hey everyone, I'm Society. You can catch me with these clowns in Screen Room. We watch Star Trek and stuff on Sundays. It's pretty fun. This campaign I play Lean Wigram, who has been a traveler at heart since the day she was born. Actually she was born on Luna, which I think is also unique amongst the other players.
I don't know if that's true. I think
Oh no,
Was
it
it
was
Paris born on
Madcow.
Luna?
I was born on
yeah.
It was Madcow's character I was thinking of, who was actually born on Earth, which is pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
Isaac's the only one from Earth, technically.
But yeah, as soon as Lean could leave home, she did. Got a job on a free merchant vessel and just kind of worked her way up through the ranks, in a sense. Built a pretty strong camaraderie amongst the crew, and then got roped into some legal dilemma, like the entire crew did. So she had to disband. Basically, they all had to part ways, but as a parting gift, her crew left her they scrounged together over the years about 2 million creds for a ship share that they gave to her as a parting gift. They all
a
saw her
culmination
as,
of favors and all that stuff from the whole crew. Yeah, over time.
they kind of saw her as like a little sis, right? She was the only girl on the crew, and like still just as worthy as everyone else on board, but they all kind of protected her in a sense, I think, mentally. But
Makes sense.
yeah, she brought them together for that or because of that. But they threw in, got her the ship shares, and here we are trying to get a ship before they
So you have
expire.
a very limited amount of time that the ship share basically will mean that all of that hard work and effort that your crew went to get you this ship share will just be absorbed as debt by the corporations, or profit by them, rather, like the opposite. They will basically have spent your money if you don't, which happens quite often.
They account on it.
The opportunity to actually cash something like this in and to privately buy a vessel is quite rare and requires a lot of networking. It's a lot about who you know, and in order to actually cash it in, you've had to take some odd jobs and stuff and work your way to eventually now where we are at in entering into the Jovian system, now in orbit around Ganymede. But there was quite a journey to get to that, and we'll talk about that as soon as we get back from our intro.
The year's 2512 and humanity lives among the stars. Used to be folks thought that when we got there we'd reach out and those stars would melt away all our problems. Sadly, it doesn't work that way. No, we took them all out there with us into the dark, where they could mutate and fester. Thing is, we took the beauty too. All the splendor and majesty that we could muster. Couldn't even say how many worlds we live on now. We've always been heading for an ugly end. Might just be we found ourselves a new beginning.
Alright, we're back. So, let's go ahead and have the players talk about what they remember happening from their perspective over the last little arc that we had, so we can begin the new one, which is titled Ingressus Prospera. So, who would like to start?
I can start.
Send us
So
off
we,
there, Venom.
as we said, as we kind of kick things off, we're all very interested in becoming sort of travelers, even though there's not really a concept yet in this timeline. But the first part of that is to get a ship, and we were all basically willing to lower our standards and increase our risk tolerance to make that happen. So we took a pretty shady job from a guy, basically to go to the asteroid belt, secure a package that we would find there, which is in the form of a corpo crate, and then take it on to Ganymede station above Jupiter. So we set about that. When we got there, things got weird. There was this is sort of pirate type people at a facility there, and kind of at the same time we got there, they were arriving, and then a third party, seemingly very advanced culture with an advanced spacecraft also arrived, killed them, either failed to detect us or let us go.
Well, clarification.
We got
They saw our ship.
The pirate people were already there. You were essentially intercepting a buy-off, like a handoff that was happening before it happened, as far as you knew. You got in there, and they were discussing the product and were confused about what was happening. And you see that they had just opened it, and some strange anomalies were happening. Right, there were some strange anomalies were happening in the station, especially with some of the AI that was in the station. And then as you kind of got past that and saw what was going on, then the third party arrived. So you would like to carry on from there what you saw?
And yeah, I skipped a part, but we actually started this little jaunt in Mars where we took on a cover story job, which is the delivery of hazardous radioactive materials, which is how we got a ship that was gonna get us to Ganymede. So we have that, where we were supposed to more or less beeline to Ganymede as far as a cover story, but we diverted to this location, secured the crate, and then we're able to go on, and we're approaching Ganymede. But as we left, there was an explosion as a result of the intervention of those aforementioned sophisticated aliens, for lack of a better word.
Well, they were people.
And so
you saw them as they were humans.
Yeah, they were humans, but they were clearly not from a culture that seemed to be of this system that we recognized. So yeah, there's a little bit of a hubbub in the solar system, on the lookout for our ship potentially, because it was seen in the area of a massive explosion. There was an official cover story that went out, some sort of accident, but we know that to be false. So we may run into some issues related to that, the fact that we were there when this explosion happened. We actually were chased, we were pursued out of there, but it was pretty tense situation. 2 ships actually followed us in a straight line, and one of them turned out to be a threat, and the other one turned out to be our savior in the form of a large carrier from the Ganymede Defense Forces. So we resolved that, and we're now on to Ganymede to deliver our radioactive cargo, as well as complete the smuggling of this crate for our true mission, which will hopefully result in us getting the contacts in the inn we need to get our own ship.
As part of the process of making friends with that other vessel or whatever, making the radio contact with them, you identified yourselves and used basically shorthand for some of the military of the megacorps and stuff that ran space here in the area of the Jovian system. And that was done by Bailey, who kind of established radio contact. It was almost a donkey balls situation from reference to the Expanse there, but not quite on that level. But in doing so, you got help from them, and then over more open communication, kind of vouched for one another and stuff, and they watched you come on in. So upon arrival in the Ganymede system, in the Jovian system, and then hitting into Ganymede, one of the moons of Jupiter, where you eventually were entering orbit, you turned on your the local feeds, and eventually you did get news that the explosion that you mentioned, which was due to the intervention of the third party, which we'll also discuss very briefly a little bit more about what you saw there back on that asteroid. But you saw a news report detailing that a ship had left the scene or whatever from there, and there was some basically radar of it, right? There was instrumentation recording, but not visuals, and you didn't have your FFIDs and stuff on at that point and stuff. So there's a reasonable suspicion that you have seen now at this point on the news and stuff, that from the reports that have happened of the actual combat by that vessel that you're talking about, that was all reported because it was all officially done, right? So there are some reports that a lot of people think that the vessel that they destroyed was the one that was leaving the asteroid. Yep. But it's also up in the air. There's a lot of people going, it's all a cover up, etc., which, as you know for a fact, at least some of it is. So there's all that kind of hanging in the air. But let's go back just a moment and talk about what Bailey saw through that little view window with the third party's intervention. Do you remember that, Bailey?
No. Venom takes much better notes than I do. I've got things like the cargo box weighs
the ceiling.
I've got notes like the cargo box weighs 120 kilograms. And Lean approves of me learning the gun. Maybe I should teach her how to use a sword.
Those aren't bad. But I was talking about what Lean was mentioning there, the hole being cut into the ceiling, the disposable airlock being attached, the crew of the third-party ship kind of invading and taking the object that was in a crate very similar to the one you had that had been opened, and they were all kind of staring at it in confusion. Boarding and then sweeping the area with some kind of device you're not familiar with that seemed to make everybody basically pass out or almost pass out. Each of you having your active radiation meds on you at the time. Each of those were activated at the time, detecting the dose of additional radiation, and you were pumped through with multiple chemicals and stuff, and actually managed to not go down, and you saw as those people went down, they were like almost like they were stunned. Some of them like were shot after the fact, but mostly they were all just blown out into space as the airlock was removed when they left. But before that happened, you saw them remove their helmets in that space, kind of inspect the area and speak very briefly. The reference there that Venom was making to them not being of the culture of Soul was that they did mention the ancestral home. They were confused about why pirates would be allowed to operate around the ancestral home. And then we saw them leave, and you guys basically got the fuck out of there as best you could, trying to using your little lander to get back to your larger vessel, which you had hidden behind an asteroid. And you had heard, even as part of the conversation that they had detected that vessel and had potentially even gotten close to it and scanned it and stuff, as they knew that it was carrying hazardous materials and assumed that perhaps that was stowed there for the safety of the pirates here, which considering that you guys have all have a pretty high chance of developing cancer or something now, and did unfortunately take radiation damage early on, you would know for a fact that the cargo is indeed dangerous. And so moving forward to that, we now see
they also had
an
an alien ship with no visible propulsion, strange materials.
Well, hey, thanks for the follow there, Real Matrix.
No plume.
Yeah, they seemed very high tech, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, their vessel appeared to be like almost based on like an older design that you would have seen, like an older Earth design, but instead it was kind of turned sideways. Hey, what's up, Matrix? Instead it was turned sideways, and there was no visible propulsion on it as it moved at high G thrust away from you, which you guessed to probably be about like a 10 G burn or so, which is doable. It's a doable burn. It's just like
no plume.
Yeah, there's no plume. There's nothing to see how it moved at all.
Exactly.
And it was basically just a black ship. So as soon as it got far away, there's no light coming off of it. So it just kind of disappears.
We know as players it was Jared Assyrian himself flying around.
Yes, that is a theory that they have. But which our audience may know if they go back and watch all of the early setup episodes for Other Skies, what they're talking about. But otherwise, that's probably a very confusing sentence.
Right. He can't be alive. He's got to be like a robot.
All right, like
so New Vegas style.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Mr.
like
House.
Mr. House. Yeah. I was like, wait. Oh yeah. That's a great game. Okay, so with that, you have entered the Ganymede system. Now, having completed your final burn to actually be in a stable orbit of Ganymede, now you could be en route to Ganymede Harbor, this enormous station and in orbit of Ganymede that is connected via a long rail, like an actual rail in space, almost like a long cable that stretches across to Prospera Station, the actual goal of your eventual moving of this package that was part of your kind of the illegal job versus the legal job that you're doing of transporting the radioactive material.
Now, speaking of that, the legal job is just to deliver the ship to the harbor, right?
The ship with the material.
But yeah, it's got the material in it, so as is, it's here, right?
Yeah, as soon as you dock at
job done, basically.
Yeah, Ganymede
as soon
Harbor.
As we dock
as soon as you dock, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
We got to get off with our box, though.
I mean, you have to get off and be like, "Hey, we're here," and check in. But
right,
yes,
right.
Yeah.
But we don't have to like take the cargo someplace and then the ship somewhere else and do anything.
No, that's all being done by the
local workers.
Well, yeah, but there's a specific the shipyard crew. Sorry, yeah, the shipyard crew.
Okay.
Ganymede Harbor is for the audience, so you know, Ganymede Harbor is this really enormous but very disconnected station with all these platforms for ship construction and stuff. There's no such thing as like artificial gravity, at least at this tech level. So a lot of these areas are 0G, like null G. Some of them are connected to swing belts and stuff that do simulate some. Prospera Station, on the other hand, which is connected by a long rail, is essentially like the living area of a lot of the people that work even in Ganymede Harbor. It is absolutely enormous. Like, think like a Babylon 5 large cylinder, but instead of like a smooth surface on the outside, it's spiked all over. And those are basically inverted skyscrapers that swing out into space. The entire structure itself has an interior cylinder as well that spins in the opposite direction at a greater mass to keep it all stable. It's basically a giant gyroscope in space, and is connected down the central portion here to a long cable that, when you zoom in close, our camera would see these enormous railed vessels connected to the cable, and zooming up and down as workers and visitors alike are transported between the two environments. Ganymede, of course, having its own magnetosphere, allows for the growth of lots of vegetables and stuff here. So this is one of the largest producers of food in the solar system besides Earth. Some of those towers that you see, that they may, your idea of a tower from Earth might be like office buildings, but a lot of those towers are in fact places where food is grown in these large stacks. And those of you that are in this world would probably know that, especially Bailey would know that type of thing, that most of those towers are big farms.
We're like in proximity. We can see all this out of our window.
I would say you can't see it out of your window, but the naked eye, no, but you could definitely pull it up on screen. There's not really a lot of windows anyway on the ship. It's mostly just screens. But there, you can get like to where there is like a window to check in like situations where power is out and stuff, but it's not like you walk by windows or anything. It's, you have to get into like crawl into a like uncomfortable space and pull back a shutter manually to look out a thing to see, because the window is basically there to check if other stuff is fucked up, like if the cameras on the outside of the ship have gone down. But you can basically look in and zoom in. So from where you're at, you're in orbit of Ganymede, and you've already spent all the burns. So we'll just say your line burns are the fuel for the audience out there that they use to move around in their ship. It's representation of fuel and reaction mass. So you've already spent all the burns to get here, so we can just say you're on the same side of Ganymede in an orbit where the amount of thrusters you have to use to make docking is negligible. But you have yet to do that, because I didn't want to be like, and you're docked, now figure out what to do, I'm taking your ship away. So you have all the tools at your disposal. Our camera now coming in from deep space, seeing the spot of Jupiter in the distance, rapidly approaching Ganymede, an even smaller spot just adjacent. Our camera centers on that briefly, and then zooming in on the vessel now. It looks like a hammer surrounded by balloons, essentially, with a large plume coming out of the front, as it would be in this perspective, as it approaches in a braking burn towards Ganymede Harbor. Our camera enters into the interior past the bulkheads and sees each of you now preparing for what is to come. The day is yours. What do you do?
So what? We're just gonna dock and
I was
then
afraid you were gonna say that.
I've
pull
got
our-
this. Just yes,
pull
chill.
the box out. What's your plan? Why are
Roll
you
the
so
punches.
cool-headed all the
Got
time,
it.
Bailey?
Why you gotta panic all the time? Lean, just take it easy.
I mean, this is the kind of shit that will land you in some sort of distant prison you never see the light of day from. They'll forget about you down there.
Well, if they forget about me when I'm in prison,
Lean,
it makes
let's-
it easier to escape.
Let's trust Bailey. Sounds like
Love
he's
your
got
optimism.
this.
All right. I've known you a
We've
while,
come this
Bailey.
far.
I got faith.
What
I have a little
choice do we
goddamn
have?
faith.
We've come this far.
I will need a dolly.
Oh, that's on the ship. We got that, right? All right.
It does have a
Would you
equipment
come in?
locker, which means it basically, within a certain amount of reason, it's basically a closet that you can go into and be like, yeah, we have one of those, right? And pull it out and then subtract the amount of credits it would cost for it. So so within reason, you can have a certain amount of stuff on a ship like that, yes.
All right, sweet.
Just spend like 10 credits for a dolly. Well, you're talking about like how big of a dolly? Hold on.
Hover dolly.
Enough
That
to
doesn't
carry
exist.
If it's the crate or
luggage.
more.
I mean,
okay, for
it's
something
gotta
to decide,
hold-
I see what you're talking about. To move something like that. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah,
a
like 50
crate,
credits.
Some luggage.
50 credits for something like big like that.
All right, no problem. I'll pay that.
Yeah,
So
we got one of those.
You wheel one of those out. It's like unstrap it, essentially.
So what you want to? So we'll. All right, I'll follow your lead. I guess we dock though. Docking is first.
Yes. Is
that what you're doing?
Who had comms? Who was
Neil, no.
sensors. Might be comms.
Any of
I
you
have
can be it. It doesn't matter.
computers.
Computers, there it is.
Sure,
Oh,
I'll get
I
on
have
comms. Oh, you do? Nice.
Yeah, I was looking up something else.
It makes sense for a pilot to have that. Like radio certification is part of being a pilot in real life.
I have comms 1, so I did some
Oh,
comms
you-
2.
Oh, so
What
we
the
both
fuck?
have it. Okay. So yeah, go ahead and request docking.
Roger, let me just remember the name of this ship.
Good call.
Good.
I don't remember.
That's a good question. I wrote
It's
it down
been a
somewhere.
month since we played, so it's okay.
Judas Folly?
34
Judas
days.
Folly.
Judas Folly. Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Jolene's Folly.
Jolene's
Judas
Folly.
Folly
Jolene's
to Ganymede Station.
Jolene. It
request
is
for
Jolene's.
docking.
You're right. It is Jolene's Folly. Yeah.
Remember, it's Jolene. Jolene.
Yeah. Jolene's Folly. Hauler. Vesta
Oh,
class.
Judas Folly. What am I, an idiot?
Jolene. What? What? Why do you keep saying Judith?
That's what happened there for some reason.
Is this like a
Jolene's
specific
Folly,
type of
Ganymede
insanity?
Station. It's on. Who can
It's
answer
a
that?
Mandela effect in live action.
Remember that song,
I rolled it
Judy?
twice.
Judy.
First one's the 13. How's that?
Judith, Judith,
Yeah, I'll take the first one.
Judith.
I stopped singing. So
Please don't take my man.
we have
Because he
a
can.
effective 5 there. So the difficulty would have been 8 on that, which I think is what you had it set to. But that's just to basically make a connection. So you're just requesting, you're hailing Ganymede Harbor right now.
Yeah, we've got a delivery for the corporation.
Rollback Industries.
For Soulback Industries, request delivery. Work order number 569er.
Excuse me.
Well, you got an effect 5, so
Say whatever bullshit you want.
Judas Folly, this is Ganymede Harbor. You're clear for immediate docking at Station 13. That will be on the interior bay. After that, we will request hazard lockdown of the area. Clear?
Reject that. With 13's bad luck. You got anything else?
That's okay because that was for Judith's Folly anyway. we're waiting for Jolene's Folly.
all
All
right.
right.
Where are we
Roger
going?
that. Thank you very much.
Let's do a random number to save. How high?
Sorry, Jolene's Folly. You can get on into Bay 12. Interior space. Immediate hazard will be enacted upon docking.
Much obliged. Thank you.
So that means hazard procedures are necessary because of the nature of the cargo that you're carrying, and that also what you would discern from that spacing of the landing is it's basically on one of the exterior, almost free-floating arm parts of Ganymede station, so it's far away from most of the crews and stuff. So you would have to undock there, and then there's a almost a scaffolding type structure, like an exposed structure to vacuum that you have to move down into to get into the interior airlock on the other side. So So protocol is that there is vacuum between the two places. So basically, you have to go outside to go back inside. Just so you know.
Yeah,
Which
that's the
stock did they
people
give us?
leaving behind the ship.
12.
Oh.
Leaving behind the ship out basically just means there needs to be a vacuum gap between.
We're basically parking outside and then coming in.
Yeah, because of the cargo.
All right, does that work for you, Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, thank you.
That'll be an easy, so difficulty 6 or whatever that is listed as in the tabletop here. So it'll be a difficulty 6 piloting check. You can do dexterity or int, your choice. It is a fairly complicated place to dock and land. It's like coming into a major airport or something in real life, right? So avoiding all the other patterns of traffic and stuff as you come into the area is the biggest part of it. But of course, you're a skilled pilot.
So pilot int, what was the difficulty?
It's difficulty 6, and it can be dex or int, your choice.
All right. I got this. Yeah.
Back to 8, Jesus. Yeah, it's absolutely no issue at all with the procedures coming in. You do see that again, it's very, very busy, but like threading a needle, you perfectly cut through all the traffic, and within just a few moments are comfortably docked at Bay 12. Is there a way I can like show that? No, I don't want to do that. Stop it. I'm gonna try and push the image of the ship to stream, but it's probably not worth it.
About to ditch this ship.
Yeah. You're trying to get rid of it anyway. But again, it's like a hammer with a bunch of balloons on the side, basically. Each of those balloons filled with extremely hazardous materials.
Yes, if we roll badly, maybe we'll be like, here it is, Jolene's Folly.
Well, you're already docked comfortably. You each feel the kind of lurching as Bailey manages to clamp in, and then suddenly there is a shift, and you feel gravity once more as the station's rotation swings you out towards the floor. You're basically connected at the head of the thing, and then the plume, where the plume would be from, the rocket itself faces out in space and swings around from the direction you're at now. And so once comfortably docked, you can exit, and there are, as the arm reaches around the vessel from 2 different sides, there are areas where it's like scaffolding. It's like entering into a cage kind of area, or like a construction crane, if you've ever seen that, right? Like a large construction crane. It's kind of like being inside of one of those. So those are outside of the vessel right now, about an 8.5 meter gap between the exterior of your vessel and the opening of that scaffolding, which you'll have to ford to get to in vac suits.
All right, suit up, pack your gear, make sure you're not forgetting anything.
I will now use this time to remind the players that they each, from the multiple successes of the previous arc, have at their disposal, they currently have a boon of fate, which allows for them to spend and gain an additional die on a roll, and we take the highest 2, so drop the lowest of the 3. So keep in mind you have that boon. You cannot gain multiple boons at the same time. The audience can, however, buy boons for you, and if the audience buys a boon, you get to use that boon immediately, basically on your next roll if you already have one, or if you don't have one, you can bank it just like the one you have now. The audience can also, this is the evil part, the audience can also spend 8,000 channel points and buy a tension die, which stacks up, and once they stack up, and they all roll out, and we see if a complication arises. And if a complication arises, that's my permission to swap some numbers, do some pretty nefarious things within the narrative. So keep that in mind. They can also generate their own tension die just by meandering on some task or whatever naturally throughout the course of the game. So you might, as an audience, see that we're almost at that point of rolling by the last one, and that forces a roll as well. So keep an eye on it.
We never meander.
Yeah, never.
Okay, so as you are now docked and beginning to suit up, I need everybody to make a vac suit roll. That can be dexterity or int, your choice. It is difficulty 8. It's never easy putting these things on unless you get one of the smart suits. And then let me know what you guys are going to do.
I'm gonna load up my luggage on this dolly.
I will assist him.
I will assist them. All my stuff's in my pocket, so I don't have anything to carry.
I'm looking at a -3 on my roll.
Yeah, I'm looking at where the first one is.
Your suit's not looking like it. I think you got it on backwards.
Can I
Let's
help
see the
him with my
tag.
effect 4?
So let's see, how much total effect do we have? 0, -1, -3, and 4. So you are perfectly canceled out at a 0 now as total group effect. So with that, I will allow for you to notice the 4, to notice the mistakes the other 2 made, and correct for them to right to 0. but if you had
This
like
thing's working like clockwork.
if you had had effect
Isaac saves
3,
the day already.
if you had had effect 3, the answer to that would have been no. But since you have effect 4, it perfectly evens out.
Yeah, we would have had to cut Bailey loose, but
Yeah. So Isaac, yes, if you want to roleplay that out, upon preparation, everybody seems to have their suits ready, but you notice that seals are not actually sealed on 2 of the suits, and in particular, Paris's suit is like the head would be exposed, so they would be exposed to immediate vacuum as soon as they entered the airlock and began to.
Paris, you have to wear the helmet.
oh my god!
Don't just carry it.
It's so embarrassing. Thank you, Isaac. You're a lifesaver.
It's like Star Citizen.
Jeez, I gotta get my head in the
It's
game.
fair. We've all been there in Star Citizen.
Never, I've never
boy.
done that.
Paris walks outside.
Yeah.
Why is our
Oh,
screen
God.
getting red?
Yeah, it's a lot
I've lost
harder.
count of
It's a
how-
lot harder to
how
get you
many
back in
times.
this one.
I've
sure
lost
it's-
count of how many times I've done that in Star Citizen.
Cynycals.
Yeah.
Train
Yeah,
station, like,
you
eating
you
a
can't
hot
shoot
dog.
him with
Got
a
an
med gun
alarm
to get him
that's-
back in this.
There'd be like
Walk
a
out
beep
to my
that goes
ship.
off to
Double
tell
dog,
you
yep.
instead of just like a faint gasp.
Okay, so you manage to get your suits. You fix the gaps and stuff, and there's a hissing sound as the helmet is properly sealed for one of you, and like one of the shoulder pieces is for the other. Tests come up green on the back of each suit that the other people can check, and given your experience now, each of you kind of go through and make sure that the others are all right. It looks like you are prepared to move from this structure to the next.
We taking this with us, Paris? Or Bailey?
Yes.
Alright. I got
Here's
the
the
other
plan.
side.
You guys just walk on through like it's another day.
I can do that. It
I'll
is
push
another
that.
day.
I'll push the cart. You just kind of lead, so I don't run into anything.
Right. I'll have a hand on it, so it looks like I'm doing something.
All right, so you guys are going to move to
my hands are full
the
with my luggage.
into the airlock now, and then to the exterior of the vessel, and get into the interior of the scaffolding. There is as I said, about an 8-meter gap between the exterior of the vessel and the beginning of that structure. So you will need to move between the space deftly. There are little maneuvering thrusters kind of been built into some of the suits that allow you to have some slight movement, but they are by no means easy to move around with, and it can also cause you to wildly go off course, etc., and or collide too hard with a structure. So I need everybody to make a vac suit roll. It's not a difficult one. It is only difficulty 8, but I need everybody to make a vac suit roll, and it's dexterity as the primary stat. Bailey, because you are transporting the dolly, I would say yours would be harder, but because Lean said they are helping you with it, I'll say that we just count that one as flat. Okay. Alright. No problems getting across the gap. Everybody makes mag boot contact to the scaffolding now, eventually slowly bringing from above you, from this angle, and down this wheeled dolly, which under the force of the station here is quite odd. Through the gap, basically, there's this strange feeling because everything's still moving, right? Everything's still spinning, and so as you depart from it, it begins to spin away from you some, but your momentum still carries you, so you're not moving straight across this gap. You're kind of moving along as this thing also begins to accelerate away from you slightly, but that space is short enough to where you're able to kind of catch and hook on with your mag boots as you connect. You look all around, you can see these spidering arms stretching out into the void here of all these different hazard locations where multiple materials are kept, and the even on longer cables and arms swinging about in space, corrected by thrusters, the actual shipyards themselves where the DSVs are constructed here by the thousands at Ganymede Harbor. And you think briefly of the dangers that the people that live and work here go through every single day to produce the vessels that feed the commerce of the Sol system. You make your way easily up the scaffolding. It's a beautiful view. It's a bit disconcerting. It feels a bit like you're at an extreme height, climbing upside down in some aspects of it. It's almost like climbing a ladder, the way that it feels, the kind of steep steps and pulling this device up, and the closer and closer you get to the middle, the less of that force you feel. Further and further up or forward, depends on your perspective. From someone docking at a nearby arm, you can see there are other vessels coming in and docking at other hazard arms. Their perspective, seeing you climb through this, might be moving along at a completely different angle from them as well. The bowing of each shape coming out at different angles, it's a odd mishmash, but it all aligns with the spin, like a strange spiked cone almost down one of the spikes you head. And it does take several minutes. It is not a easy bit of a climb. It's not strenuous because you don't weigh very much as you move further and further up it, but it's a process of being careful, of assuring you don't cause an accident, don't lose your cargo through one of the gaps here, don't lose yourself through one of the gaps, because it would be difficult to get back, and those gaps may be too small for you and your vac suit to fit through, but they're just large enough to let your imagination make you think you could. For too long, another 10 minutes, what feels like a light hike, you find yourselves in front of an airlock. Lit green, meaning it is currently exposed to your side. Vacuum. You could enter freely without having to cycle at this point.
Do it.
Right.
No, open it up.
There's no roll for this. Simple process. You begin the process of opening the door. There's a brief moment. The slightest amount of pressure escapes, condensing in the vacuum. You step into the interior. The only sounds you hear are the stunk, stunk of your mag boots as they make contact. You pull your luggage into the interior and begin the process of cycling the airlock. Eventually, now you hear, or you didn't hear before, the sound of the pumps, of the buzzing vibration that you felt through your boots just a second before becomes audible, and your suit indicates that you are at just below 1 atmosphere of pressure. The other door opens to the interior of Ganymede Harbor Station. It is, for all its beauty, dimly lit within. There are what you might think of as kiosks today, all along one edge, essentially check-in stations, where you see multiple passengers and other individuals coming up to them and checking luggage on these large, what are we rolling here? On these large like conveyors that head further into the station, up the curves and beyond. Think of it as the interior of a large airport. What do you do?
I'll look for the kiosk that says we're here and the job is done.
Okay.
Well, I just stand with this package, with this box. Where are you going, Bailey?
Yeah.
Look back and Lean's just sweating, just sweating. What I do? Just got her hand
I'm
up, blocked on
I'm
his
trying to
crate.
play it cool. I'm like leaning up against a wall, like my shoulder, trying to play it off casual.
Well, the first kiosks you see are for checking in, like saying that you have arrived and stuff. The job, basically, you would have to go to like another terminal within, or just meet with the Soloback agent or whatever there, and they'll pay you out. But there is like a kiosk to just like walk up to and be like, "This is the ship we're in. We're in N12. We're docked. We're declaring these things." So you go up to that, and you begin that process. What do you check
first.
in?
You three first.
All right. Who steps up to it first?
Hey there.
All right. As you step up, you can see there is no person here. This
Then
is
I'm just
a
an idiot.
no.
Who are you talking to?
No. There is no person here, but what there is a screen.
Everyone, look at this guy.
With what there is a person with on a clear screen that you can see through, whose face like flicks to you as you step up within space, and you just hear greetings. You would recognize
Hi
that
there,
this is a common AI
Checking
used.
in.
Declare your vessel and belongings, please. May I have your identity?
Yes, I am Paris Harcrow, arriving on the Jolene's Folly as part of a official Solubec Industries delivery.
Please present documentation.
I'll take the work order out of my pouch and hold it up to the screen.
You see, it's almost as though they're reading it, but it's like too fast to be read. Just doop, doop. After they do, please present personal documentation.
Is it something I would have, presumably?
Personal identification, basically, whatever identification you would
I'll
have
pull out
associated
my
with
Smoke
whatever.
you.
Cool Kids Club card.
Okay.
Put that up there to the screen.
Which ID are you carrying? Like a Luna one?
Yeah, presumably.
Okay. It'll read over it. Let me make one real quick roll. Yep, so, looks up at you and smiles. Identity accepted. Welcome to Ganymede Harbor. May I
Thank
direct
you.
you? Like, kind of switches, like, perspective almost, like you're looking more like down on top of them, like they're gesturing in different directions, and you can see kind of like the cupped out hands. May I direct you?
Yes, we are. We'll be looking for the Solubec kiosk for
Soloback
deliveries.
Industries, private business kiosk. It sits there and thinks for a second. It looks like it's almost like hitting an error for a minute. See, Jovian Provisional Government Headquarters, Section 134, Prospera Station. Thank you.
Sound good.
Cheers. Glance to the team, like, oh, this is the things we're looking up.
That where we need to be going? They said government.
Yes, that's where we
That would be
need
where
to
you would get
deliver.
paid for your legal
right.
job you just did. So you would have to actually go to Prospera Station and check in with the government. What you're finding out by hearing that is that Solobek Industries has basically been absorbed by the provisional government because of the megacorps here being thrown out by the revolution.
And we know where this box needs to be dropped off at?
It's somewhere in,
That's
not
a separate
specifically,
job.
but somewhere in Prospera Station. So it's just like the sister station to Ganymede Station.
Yeah.
This is a good thing because it puts us where we need it. It gives us a good, valid reason to go over there.
Yeah.
So
I'll
I'll step
step up
back
to
and
the
let them
kiosk.
go.
Follow her lead. I'll flash my Luna-based ID.
Okay, you step up and they ask for personal documentation. You flash it to them. Roll me 2d6, please. Okay. Cleared for entry. Welcome to Ganymede Harbor. How may I direct you?
Where's the best burger?
Accessing. I actually have that. Hold on, I literally have that in my. I made a whole thing.
He was ready for
Society.
me. Yeah, he was ready for me.
Where is it at? Did I put it
There's
under
not been real
lore?
meat for 200 years, right?
Man, this AI is pretty slow at this station.
Shut up! I made a whole
I didn't
menu
have
for
some
this
burger.
place.
How did it know about the
May
provisional
I-
government better than a burger?
Well, may I direct? There's probably a lot of burgers and only one provisional government. May I
It's probably
direct
like a
you
marketing
to, or
auction.
perhaps suggest you enter Cosmic Bites? Cosmic Bites embodies the spirit of fast-paced
an ad.
interstellar travel. And then, like, yeah, it cuts
Skip
into
ad.
like.
Skip ad.
you got
Yeah,
some- yeah, you hit the
Mute.
skip button.
Yeah.
Welcome to Ganymede Harbor.
Well, I know where we're
How
not
may
going,
I direct
guys.
you?
I'm good, thank you, and I'll step outside.
Next, please.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. I'll show my Earth passport.
All right.
You are 10 millionth customer.
Earthling, gross.
Roll me
Dude,
three.
you are not
I need you to roll me
permitted.
3d6. Isaac.
3.
Oh,
that
God.
doesn't sound the same as
Oh God.
ours. Are we not supposed to be
I'm gonna
using this
electrocute
machine?
it.
Access denied.
Oh.
Wait, really?
That's correct. Please see Security Agency 1, Kiosk 1, Ganymede Harbor. Dun, dun.
I look
Next,
at
please.
I look at Isaac and I say, "Run!"
I'll step up.
Don't worry, Bailey's got this.
Bailey's got the plan.
Jolene's
It's all part
Folly.
of his plan.
Jolene Folly's pilot.
Jolene's Folly. Jolene's Folly's pilot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
tongue twister. And I'll let him scan my Omnicom.
All right. Roll 2d6.
Discord DM.
Is there some kind of reason why they wouldn't want an roleplaying on here?
Yeah, I know. I'm accounting for that on this roll that you're doing.
Alright. Just making sure. Just 2d6?
That's right.
You don't want cockroaches in your ship, do you?
You're technically rolling on different tables. Welcome, Bailey McNevin, to Ganymede Harbor. You have been upgraded to Platinum Access. Accommodations will have been provided for you. Please see Blue Diamond Access. and then the little chit thing on your Omnicom like lights up like a different color.
Part of your plan?
Ooh, who'd you sleep with for that, Bailey?
It's like y'all never travel.
We stay at many places.
I'll let
Usually
the
only go.
kiosk know that I have personal luggage to declare.
Right. It will flash up. You'll have basically slots where you can put them, but you'll have unlimited slots to store like standard luggage size stuff. So, and then you'll see that porters are arranged for carriage, and like essentially a little like a little AI that's basically like a wheeled cart that's run by an AI will slide out from one of the walls, like have like a little blue diamond on it, and that's lit up, and will just kind of slide gently over to you, and little lights on top of it will indicate where they want you to place your luggage.
I'm gonna put this whole cart on there.
It easily snaps in place, and straps are mechanically brought over the top of it by no measure of your own. You don't have to interact with it at all, and it just beep, beep, beeps, and awareness of you begins to follow you as you move.
Is this that like members club service that you can get in the benefits program? Meta gaming. I'm just curious. That's funny.
That's not for me to answer any
you-
questions, so.
You don't have to answer it. Yeah, that's funny.
Isaac, didn't you need to go to a different kiosk? We should head there.
Yeah, 3 of you are cleared for
Isaac's
entry, 1 of you is not.
controlling?
So we separate?
Yeah, I think that we should get safe. We need to get our package through. That's what matters now. I'm willing to go with Bailey.
You want us to wait on you, or
Probably just get the package through.
all right, we'll meet you over there.
Yeah, we'll split the party.
Yeah,
Unless Paris, you want to hang out with him?
Hope to meet y'all over there.
Yeah,
No
I can hang out
guarantees.
with Isaac.
Right, so
I
Lean and Bailey are gonna try and go to the rail.
Yeah. Wait, hang on. Before we separate, do you know why you were denied access? Do you have any reason? why that would-
Possibly.
Do you think it's a problem?
Potentially. We'll see.
Should we wait for you? Should we get the package through? What do you say?
We need to separate.
think-
If he's being flagged, we need to separate the package from him.
You should
I
get
would
the
think.
package through for sure. I'm not 100% sure if anybody should come with me at all, but maybe.
Maybe you just wait here. Maybe we don't even need to get you through.
It's your business. You tell me. You tell me.
They may not. They may not deal with me. So you should go through with the package.
All right. Well, you got
yourself.
comms, so call if you need anything.
Yes, we'll do. I'll go see
Wait, you're not staying, Paris?
exactly what they want.
Sounds like he doesn't want me to.
Might not be a good idea.
You will notice that
They-
any comms that you have that are on the network, you all have free access to and can use, except for Isaac. He's completely blacked out. Cannot.
So he does not have comms.
He does not have normal
Oh
comms. So.
shit. Well, if we get separated, meet us at the entrance to Prospera Station.
I feel
at
uncomfortable
noon
about all
tomorrow.
this. Should we even try and get you through? Maybe you just wait here and find a nice chair to sit in.
Well, the issue is if Solobek is kind of absorbed by the provisional government, now there might be an issue with the government, which is not how it has been. I mean, essentially, long story short, corporations don't love me, but this could be a bigger problem. I don't know if that's what this is, but it's a potential.
I'm sure it's a routine.
So you're too corporate for the new
situation.
government?
No. corporations don't. There are quite a few corporations that don't deal with me. They don't. Yeah, they don't
You're
like
saying
me
it's
and my
unsafe even
family.
just to wait here?
I wouldn't say unsafe.
Is it safer than checking in and like just handing yourself to them?
So what you will see now is you have this wall of kiosks and stuff that people are checking into. It's rather long. There are multiple kind of tiers of it. People are going down. It kind of winds around a ring shape where you lose the corners. But you can see signs above that are lit up that indicate like the direction of security and stuff like that. You have been told that you need to check in to security, like a specific kiosk, which you're directed to. And there's like a little line kind of like directing you where to go. But you were not told that, you know, please remain where you are. Security has been dispatched or anything like that.
Right.
So, but you do know, like if you were like a criminal where you're barred of entering, period, kind of a situation, that would have been more like that.
Yeah,
That's why I just don't want to go with the package, because
Right.
if it is what I'm thinking, then it's that they don't want like business dealings with me. A lot of corporations don't deal with me and my family, and if the government, if Solveig's part of the government, it's possible that the government doesn't want to deal with me either. So it's not a bad situation, but y'all should probably just take the package and get that done.
That explains it.
Yeah.
All right. I appreciate you letting us in on a little bit. I have more questions, but
They can
we'll
wait.
save that. Yeah, we'll save that for later.
Yeah, worst case,
go,
we're coming
Bailey.
back here for a new ship anyway. We'll meet you there.
Yeah. By the time we see you, we'll have
I'll be in that line over there.
our
Alright.
license, universal license. What do they call it?
Come on, Lean, let's go.
Commercialized.
Let's do it.
CL.
Commercial license.
Yep, CL.
Let's do it.
So Isaac is gonna head to the security kiosks area and follow those lights while the rest of you go through towards the central terminal and head up station, basically. So it's up well to where you feel less and less gravity as you go towards the center of the ring. Eventually, by the time you get to the area that you'll be boarding the actual the rail area, which you do have to check in there as well to actually get aboard a car and all of that. You're not like scanned or anything as you go through. You pass by multiple vendors selling different things. There's even like food being sold here and stuff. You can see it's being shopped at by mostly workers and stuff, kind of like lunch break food, but it's almost like lunch could happen at any time because this place doesn't shut down. There's no darkening here at night, quote unquote, and there's no lighting here during the day. Not on Ganymede Harbor. You know that on Prospera Station they do that kind of thing. They have a day-night cycle that they maintain, but here it's all work all the time, so it's always lit. There are vitamin D lights everywhere that kind of yeah, it's all lit, but no, there are vitamin D lights everywhere for the health of the people that work here. There are lots of break areas that you see people kind of resting in, but some of them are like resting in their vac suits and stuff, helmets off, brow covered in sweat, drinking a cold drink, that kind of a thing, either getting off of a shift or preparing to go back out onto one. It's a place of business, but it is lively, and probably, and I could probably do this to make it sound a little cooler, but it can be at some points in here quite loud in certain areas, as you'll hear there's lots of people moving around. There's sort of different the sounds of various types of thrusters and things like that being fired just outside and vibrating the hull from things that are connected literally to it. Tests being done. This is a place where commerce is being done and ships are being built not that long away. You can feel kind of strange vibrations happening in different parts of the station as you move through them. As you get higher and higher up or more towards the center, it becomes once again more and more necessary to use your grav boots. You kind of move up a ways, go up a small elevator, walk down another corridor, head up another small elevator, and each elevator puts you closer and closer to the center. Eventually you hear a clamping sound as the wheels on your cart that accompanies you go magnetic, and they themselves lock to the interior space here as the gravity becomes lower and lower, almost to null, as you enter into the interior monorail station. Now let's take just a brief moment to look around here at Prospera Station. At Ganymede Harbor, here at the actual station itself for the tube, for the actual rail that moves between the two enormous structures that make Prospera Station and Ganymede Harbor. Here there is, from your perspective now, seeing the interior space, this rail is not this thin cable that stretches through space, though it looked like one on approach. No, this is enormous. This is like a huge, like wide skyscraper that stretches out into the heavens beyond your current angle, but from your space, it's heading away from you horizontally as you spin around it slowly, and certain sections begin to rotate with as passengers board these enormous train cars that take off through another tube that you see, stop before heading into a space, and then they're cycled into the largest airlock perhaps in existence, as each an individual cart heads into its own separate airlock. There are around it about 24 from you that you can count, individual airlocks with 24 individual rails heading in both directions along this massive structure that stretches out to a point in space that you can see a shimmering, beautiful, spinning city of Prospera Station. Here, you have to check in for tickets, you have to pay for access to get across, and you have to pass customs to Prospera Station. It's a busy terminal. People coming and going. Tall, short, many that look as though they have grown up here. Belters, as you would call them in the Expanse, but here they are just spacers, just the locals of Ganymede, the locals of the Jovian system. Look a lot like your friend Bailey. People that grew up in microgravity, but not necessarily poor. There are those that appear that way. Once the station was home to workers that worked for an oligarchy of multiple megacorp heirs, but no longer the case as of just a few months ago. So for you, Bailey, approaching this area now, perhaps for the first time since the coup, this might appear very different. Ganymede security wasn't a thing before. This is centralized. This is a government running the station. This is law. Before there wasn't law. It was just the cops and the corpse. But here, there's regulation happening, which is something you've seen at Luna, Mars, around Earth. But not like this out here. This is the first time. And it perhaps catches you more off guard than any of the others who were used to living in a society with that type of structure. Keep that in mind as you move towards customs here, and for the first time in your life, see a uniform of Ganymede security. An individual with what could be best described as perhaps one of the largest air rifles you've ever seen, sitting on his back, kind of strapped to him, sends nearby a smiling-faced older man, very tall, kind of a short, neatly kept beard of graying hair that's long but pulled back into a tight ponytail, and what could be best described as a tattoo that centers his eyes, dotted lines that upon inspection you would note likely related to a cybernetic enhancement, often one done for ocular implants. As you approach, he smiles at you and says, "And over, each of you.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a blue diamond here. These folks with you?
Yes, they are.
All right, well, you can have a number of 3 with you, so you're welcome to take any one of these carts down here for free, and if you want to check in with one of the others for extras, you can always use these here. If you've got luggage, which I see you do, that'll be automatically distributed in the back free of charge. And let me give you this." And he passes you what is a sticker, basically. You just put this on, they'll recognize you on the other side, and send it back on over. And by the way, welcome to Prospera. Then let's see the rest of you there. We got stickers for each of you. Then puts a sticker on you. As you are each given your sticker, he then passes you along to a second line where a slightly more stern gentleman, also gray hair, but much shorter, no beard, looks at you and just says, "All right, I need to see ID for each of you, and I'm gonna have to see the luggage declared." You will notice that as you're moved into this other line, you're like basically just skipping the security line at the airport.
Remind me to go travel with you more.
Yeah, I'll pull up my ID.
How do you normally travel?
In a horrible, dingy ship where we have to sleep on a ship because we don't have enough money to stay on the station.
Good thing you brought a proper pilot.
That's so.
All right, so each of you passes him your ID, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. You're each cleared for your IDs as you make it through. What do you do when he requests that you claim your luggage?
I'll make sure that my cutlass is up on top of my duffel bag that's sort of strapped down to it.
Okay.
Just so that he sees that my weapon is stowed, not on me.
Okay.
Maybe issue.
Other than that, I'm acting like there's nothing else wrong with it.
Oh, anybody else do anything?
Oh, they don't let guns in here?
I don't know. It's been a while since I've been back.
Hey, what's up, Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, I guess does he want to see inside our luggage, or what's the vibe?
He wants you to declare what's in it, basically, and you don't know if they're gonna how deeply they're gonna inspect it.
Well, I've got a lot of crap here, to be honest. But I do have some defensive weapons. I hope that's okay. Otherwise, it's just kind of random gear. I'm hoping to do some prospecting as here soon. So.
Oh, yeah, you got that
adventure stuff. Anything in particular that you are concerned about?
We do have weapons restrictions.
Oh, let's see. I've got nothing really. I've got an auto pistol. That's okay?
Let's see. So yeah, you pull out your pistol and set it.
Or it's actually a cartridge pistol, but yeah.
All right.
Stun stick.
So make me a social. Difficulty 8. Straight social, difficulty 8. Or if you want to try something else, you can.
I would do a dash to persuade, like, you know, girl traveling. I gotta have something.
Straight social is like literally your status allowing you to have have access to the gun as you go on. If you want to try and do a persuade or something, I'm totally down for that. But you just got to actually role play it out and see what you're gonna.
Yeah, persuade social. So yeah, yeah, just have this this pistol here and a stun baton. You know, as a young lady traveling, you can't be too careful. We just were on a delivery mission. We actually ran into some pretty bad people until the Ganymede forces were nice enough to intervene and mop them up for us. But anyway, can't be too careful. But that's all I have in here. That's I think we should be worried about.
So they will inspect them and look at them. Go ahead and make your roll.
Let's go.
Understand that, ma'am. As long as you keep the ammunition not loaded in there.
Yeah,
those have to
no,
be
it's not-
in separate
it's all gonna stay
containers, and
right there.
we would ask that you don't carry that on your person. Just keep it stowed away in luggage.
Of course.
Welcome to Prospera.
Do this, and I'll do the same.
Yeah, you need to you need to be inspected too. So what are you declaring?
This auto pistol here with the mags already separated. Got it in the bag here, secure, locked down, slide rack, and
He's got a gun.
Anything else you're declaring?
No, the only other things in my backpack are just tools.
Okay.
Or like a multi-tool.
So they'll just be like, they'll nod and inspect them. Because of their persuasion roll, I'll let you guys get away with a little bit easier difficulty in some of these, but they are gonna take your luggage and put it up on the thing. It's gonna go through basically the scanner, X-rays, and your weapons and stuff. He will again say, on your person, of course. You can go ahead and you can roll a social, but it'll be a difficulty 6.
Me?
No, lean.
Oh.
We'll go with you last.
Whoa, let's go. Oh, what?
All right, -2. So
No, because I rolled it average. You said difficulty 6.
it should be difficulty 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it average, so I got a
Nice.
0 effect.
Some 6.
So I rolled a 4 and a 2, and I have no
Yeah,
minuses.
I see. Yeah. No, you're right.
Sir, I'll
so-
make sure
so
she
you're at 0.
doesn't take it out of there.
All right.
Holy
So
Lord.
I was gonna have them confiscate your ammo and stuff.
I got no money for
on
another
-2.
pistol. I'm fucked
But
if they take
They
it.
wouldn't have taken your pistol, but they would have taken your ammo and stuff.
magazines are more valuable.
But because you rolled at 0 effect and not negative effect, you'll get to keep everything, but there won't be any bonuses, or it's not going to get any easier. You're not going to bring the difficulty down any for the next
that's right.
person who has to go. He just says, all right, you're clear to go through. Just make sure don't put it in your person.
Thank you, sir. When do you get off work there?
He just gestures you on. He's not impressed by you.
Not your type, all right.
Carry on, slag.
Yeah. I get when I'm not wanted.
Yeah, it gives you the cold shoulder a little bit as Bailey
I'll stick my tongue
approaches.
out at him. Like gather my backpack up in my arms.
He does just kind of like look at you briefly for a moment and then just turns back to Bailey. All right, declare luggage, please.
Cutlass, clothes, family heirloom, flight suit, the usual.
Fair enough. So you can go ahead and roll me a social, but it'll be a difficulty 6. Or you can, if you want to, I will allow you to roll charm as well. And you will
Just
instead,
spell on 'em.
and you will automatically be rolling because of the nature of the thing that you know. You'll automatically be rolling with a boon, so you don't have to spend a boon to roll with a boon in this situation.
Oh, sweet. So persuade social?
I'll allow persuade, since you talked to him, you like said, oh, just the usual, that kind of stuff. So
He's like military from this area, right?
yeah, among other things.
Oh my god, that roll is insane, dude.
4, 5, 6. Okay.
Secrets.
Looking you over for a moment, looking at checking your blue diamond, little indicator and everything. He will kind of look up at you and nod, and he'll just say, all right, sorry, sir. Head on through, and he does not load your luggage onto the scanners at
No
all,
way.
including him. Nor does he tell you to stow your weapons or anything. In fact, he hands you your cutlass back as you step back through, and he does snap and throws you a salute before you step through.
Maybe you should have gone first, Bailey.
If you hadn't rolled that high of an effect, I was gonna have him scan the thing, and you're gonna have to do some talking to figure it out. But you rolled a fucking
We don't even know what's
effect
in
of
there. Yeah, that could have
7.
fucked us bad.
So they're just like, yeah, let him through. He's basically a hero to them. So
You've killed a lot of people for us.
General, sorry.
you will. I say, you others will notice there's kind of two things going on in the behavior. Like they're treating him very well, like a really rich guest or something like that you might expect. But there's also a layer of like a high respect for like military service kind of coming in as well. You will note probably an air of slight confusion in Bailey. Probably too, I would say, because you're probably expecting some of that but not all of it, right?
Yeah.
I will give you this chance, Bailey, to make a possible realization, but only Bailey will get this roll. I would think it would be... Honestly, I don't think there's any skill that this is relative here, so I'll let you roll int or luck, your choice, basically. Just pure straight roll at difficulty 8. Okay.
Dice love me tonight. Wonder how long that's gonna hold up.
You really support the troops around here.
Second, sorry. You see that DM I just sent you?
Yeah.
All right, that'll be it. So you'll see like our camera will see, not necessarily the other player characters see, but our camera will kind of zoom in on Bailey's face as he looks kind of confused by the treatment very briefly for a moment, and then there's this kind of dawning realization as he looks around on some of the screens and sees some of the other information, some of the actual interior space here. And so hold on, let me clear that up.
So good. We still haven't gotten to Prospera yet. This is like the...
Yeah, this is to get on the train to go to Prospera.
Correct. So you would have that context now, Bailey. And because of that super good roll that you made, you will be able to load it on board the cable to get it across the Prospera without much trouble, which is extremely lucky, because anything below an effect of 5 is going to require you to do some pretty crazy stuff. But you rolled effect 7, so I didn't even really plan on it going that high. So yeah, they're just going to let you load it up on the cart. You are again given your blue diamond access to one of the cars here. You can see kind of the line indicating for the 3 of you where to head, and you do so. The cart, as it kind of comes into position for you to step aboard, the doors slide open. The interior is roomy, and you notice you are literally the only people. It is basically a dining car Very comfortable space. There are multiple screens on the inside of the car to show kind of all around like what you're seeing, because there aren't windows in these things, right? Because this goes out into space and ends up on the other side. You pass through a little airlock into the interior of it, and comfortably the cart that follows you loads in here, and you can see it like just locks into the floor here, and the straps are still on everything, so everything's just kind of like locked down in this space. Then as you are literally sitting down right here at the what is almost like a dining room table without the table folded out, like you're kind of facing each other, a table does then fold out, and from the back basically where the luggage is locked down, another little basically a droid, but a box sized one, like basically a small rectangular box about 2 feet high, rides out, and up from its interior raises 3 champagne flutes, each of which are then capped. Sorry, it wouldn't be flutes in this because that has to go in between the two, so this wouldn't be flute. The flutes is on the other side.
3.
So, no, it'd be 3 bulbs. So it'd be 3 bulbs, not flutes, of champagne that rise out of the 3, because it has to be able to be drinkable in 0 gravity as well. And as you sit down, the indicators for how to strap in your belt and stuff are indicated. You each lock in, and you can begin sipping on your champagne. Was really like a sparkling wine of some kind. As you move between, you see a little indicator at the top that says that the journey between the two will take about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on if there are any delays, and it shows you like a little indicator of like likelihood of delays currently, and it's set at like 2% or something like that, and you see it fluctuates like up and down, 3%, 1%, so you're likely to get there within like 30 minutes or so. As you feel it begin to move and take off, and as you exit the spin section of the station, it kind of normalizes out, and you can feel null gravity once more take over, and you look back at the screens that are mounted to the walls behind you, and it shows you peeling away at high speed from Ganymede Harbor, and you can't think but what Isaac is doing as you look back there, and our camera will do the same as it leaves the car along this cable, as the interior 3 passengers sip on sparkling wine, and instead enters the grungy interior once more of Ganymede Harbor, where we see the heavy footfalls of one Isaac Powell trudging towards his security kiosk. What are you doing, Isaac?
Well, I'm waiting in line, right? There was a line.
There is a line, yeah. I'm just asking if you're preparing anything or anything like that before you get through it.
If I'm preparing anything, you said?
Yeah. Whatever you might be doing, I don't know.
No, I mean, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I got my auto pistol and my bivy pack, but, you know, that's just normal, so.
Okay. It takes you probably the better part of 20 minutes to wait through the line to get up there. By this point, the other people are probably halfway to the cable, or getting close to the cable. It'll probably take them about 45 minutes to get to the cable from where they were, or so. We'll just say an hour to make it easier. So they're probably a little less than halfway to getting on the cable at this point. You, on the other hand, are just now getting through your security line, where you step up. There is a kiosk here, but there is an armed gentleman behind it. He has a pistol on his hip. It is in a snapped holster. It doesn't seem like it's drawn or anything, and he doesn't speak as you approach. He just gestures you up and indicates for you to put your ID in the little kiosk below. There's a little screen on it. You insert the ID. Okay. Yep. You do so. You see an image of you come up. It's not a recent picture. It's an older picture. And it's not one taken for an ID either. In fact, it's one that you may not have seen before, but you remember when and where this would have been taken. And that was a violent day. Little indicator.
Doesn't narrow it down a lot.
And a little indicator pops up at the bottom, denoting that you need to head into an interior office. The gentleman armed there doesn't move towards his gun or anything, but hits a button, and you see a small door slide open next to the area you're at for this kiosk, and he just gestures. And you hear him say very briefly, he's not masked up or anything like that with armor or anything. He's just full, out like you. He is armored, but not on his head or anything like that. Not like wearing a vac suit, just basic like cloth kind of armor. And he just says, "They're going to need to talk to you."
All right. Thank you.
Revolution.
Through the door.
Right. You step into the interior. There is another number of guards in here. And they kind of turn and look at you. And you can see another door is kind of down a hall from you. It's just the two doors in the hall. You begin to walk through them. The guards track you with their heads, their hands on rifles. You can see on the hip of one of them a bladed weapon. As you pass by them, he draws it and kills you. No, as you pass by them, you can see that it has seen battle. This has definitely been used. One of them, the one with the blade, steps out behind you as you move past, and then continues to follow you about a meter behind. As you approach the door at the end, the door slides open as soon as you step in front of it, and in front of you you see a woman about 50 years old or so, slightly graying hair, kind of a salt and pepper color. It's draped back in a tight ponytail. She's got very strong like eye makeup on, but like kind of a pale lipstick on. She stands fairly tall, or she would at least if she was standing, because she's sitting behind a very small desk here with a swiveling computer basically on it, screen that can swivel in two different directions to show. And as you step inside, she points at a chair kind of not on the other side of the desk, but more like on the other side of the door as soon as you come in. She just says, "Have a seat, Mr. Powell. I believe we have some things to discuss." And she turns the little monitor around, showing video of you throwing firebombs and other clips of you with multiple picket signs in the air, as well as a few other choice clips that you might be shocked by. It's a younger you. It's a you recognize, and parts of you may have forgotten, but other parts haven't. You're blacklisted, Mr. Powell, by Solidbeck Industries. You realize that?
I do realize that. Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking for legal entry to Ganymede Harbor. Am I to understand you're under... You traveled here. Let me get this correct. She pulls up and kind of flops from a handheld terminal to the screen in front of you, a gesture as though she was flinging something off of one screen onto another. And on that screen in front of you appears the Jolene's Folly. Am I to understand you arrived here aboard a Solidbeck Industries vessel as well? One that, I might add, you are blacklisted from boarding, Mr. Powell. Do you have anything that might explain this discrepancy?
Well, it's a job.
A job that you are not legally allowed to take as per corporate council regulations. Isn't that correct, Mr. Powell?
That may be correct.
And yet here we are.
Jefferson has something to say about it.
Is there anything that you can speak to that might explain how you were allowed to take said job, Mr. Powell?
Well, that is quite a good question. Honestly, being offered the job, it seemed like, they were putting my past behind me and wanting to turn a new leaf. I wasn't quite aware of the recent, shall we say, connections with the government, so I didn't quite realize that, I guess, I don't know, almost seems like I was being brought here now.
As of 3
looking
weeks
back.
ago, Mr. Powell, Solobek Industries has been dissolved and brought into the privatized sector of the provisional government of the Jovian system. So we will now be handling all blacklists, all whitelists, and all business dealings that were performed by Solobek within the jurisdiction of Ganymede and beyond that, the greater Jovian system. So we can assure you, Mr. Powell, that though you may not have heard of the situation is indeed upon you. Is there anything that I could do for you here that might make it a little easier for me? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want you taking up my air in my brig, but right now I feel like that might be what I have to do. Unfortunately, due to the secession, let's call it, of Solobek, certain records are missing. Certain individuals that might have made this decision previously are no longer in office, and the decision falls to me. I have too many decisions to make, Mr. Powell. Help me not make one of them.
I mean, to be honest, you know everything about me, and you know that I've never had any problem with governments. That's not an issue for me. So with
Kisser.
with there being with this being a privatized government, I have no issue with that. My issue was with Earth corporations, and that was in my past. We can start again as government to citizen of space. I have left Earth and I'm out traveling now, as you see. Kind of left all that behind me. I can do that. I can roll persuade too.
Yeah, you're gonna definitely have to roll persuade. It's gonna be a difficulty 10.
Modifier. Luck. Yeah.
You do have boons. You
I'm
want to spend your
gonna
boon?
use one.
All right, you're gonna use your boon.
Yeah, what modifier?
So I will say you can use charm, you could use int, and you could use social. Any of those three that you would choose.
Okay. How do I make this a roll through, like a boon?
But you'll need to ask the players for that.
Normal boon. There we
It'll
go.
it'll give you the option when you click it.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Got it.
Just barely.
Boom.
All right, Mr. Powell. Seeing as how these aggressions were so far in the past and are specifically related to a cause that the corporate council certainly cares about, the corporate council has no true jurisdiction here. Not anymore. So because of that, I will allow you temporary access to Ganymede Harbor. Mr. Powell, we will be keeping our eyes on you. And I will ask that you declare yourself at every security kiosk you move through at this station and beyond. And she kind of slides out this hand terminal that you're used to seeing, and swipes out again a screen that moves to the other screen, and you'll be charged a surcharge for my security forces having to keep such a close damn eye on one of our potential travelers. And you'll see a charge of 1,000 credits is brought up on the screen. This will gain you access to the greater stations beyond, but let's be clear here, Mr. Powell. We will be keeping our eyes on you.
Well, that's absolutely perfect because I have 1,100 credits to my name, ma'am. So taking 1,000 of that is exactly perfect. I appreciate the temporary access, and I will pay this fine on my way out.
All right, so you can pay it there, basically, on her terminal. So.
Oh, you want it here? Damn. Lady.
Yeah. Please insert your credit chip right there.
I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this just as soon as possible. Thank you.
Let's try. I'm trying to
get up and walk out.
Fuck.
She
couldn't make that pay. That's top priority.
All right, subtract 1,000 credits. You can see she pulls it up, looks at it, nods, swipes it. You're not sure where she puts it, but I'll let you make an int check if you want. It'll be difficulty 8, just pure int.
Ugh.
Yeah, you can't really tell what she does with it or anything, but she puts the terminal away and then gestures to the door. Don't let me see you again. You're cleared for access.
All right.
You can purchase your tickets beyond. And then
Appreciate it.
the guard that was following you just kind of puts his hand on your shoulder and pulls you out of the office. Not roughly, but
John Wick, kill everybody.
applies pressure to you, pulls you out of the office, and kind of gestures you down the hall where you are escorted out. And as the door closes between you two, you turn around and you're like, fuck. You just lost some money, but you can head towards the tube now.
Yeah, that's a better outcome than other things could have been.
It's true.
Oh, what? Oh.
he's BRBing without a BRB screen. I need to put one behind him there so it'll be easier for him to do that in the future.
Right.
But yeah, so you head on towards the tube. It will take you about 30 minutes to get there from here. As you do so, you see multiple vendors. Again, I've already described all this, but the food stands and stuff for the workers. Lots of people coming and going to the various parts of the shipyards, etc. There's certainly a vibe of a lot of hardworking folk here. And then when you do eventually 30 minutes later get to the tube, you'll see the tube itself is rather remarkable. Here you have to pass through customs to enter a car, and you have to buy passage to the other to the station, both ways. So you step up to the to the open kiosk there, and there's a couple of people there. You're standing in line for a bit. A few minutes go by. You're moved up. And the gentleman just says, "ID."
All right, I'll hand him my ID and say I'm declaring myself. I'm
Okay.
Isaac Powell.
I
You
see.
should know who I am.
All right, Mr. Powell, you have restricted access to the station. Thank you for declaring yourself. Do you have any weapons, anything dangerous? And one of them steps around and begins to frisk you.
I do. have a weapon in my backpack.
All right, place that here on the belt, and we'll just scan that.
I'll place my auto pistol in the
They
belt.
frisk you physically and wave like this wand over you, and it beeps several times. They look at various parts of you and stuff. It's a fairly invasive procedure. And then after a bit of time, a few minutes pass, one of them nods and says, all right, you can move on through.
Thank you.
I like how we got the
fellas.
first class experience. He's getting coached.
I got a massage and felt up. So
For free.
All right, so the next kiosk is where you would buy tickets and stuff for a passage to the other station. You can see that it takes generally like 30-45 minutes for a trip to get there. It's not very expensive for the cheapest that go back and forth. It's only about 10 credits to get
thank God.
access.
what's
So,
first class?
First class, it's about 1,000 credits.
Oh fuck. Is there anything for like 100? I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. 10 credits.
I mean, you can buy 10 seats or something on the shitty
I
passage.
10 seats and sleep on the way.
Bronze class.
All right, I buy
But yeah,
a cheap
basically
ticket.
you pile into like a really tight space. It's like this worker's car essentially that is, imagine like a Tokyo subway. This is like really packed in there, and you're almost levitating.
I'm getting felt up
because
again.
There's not a lot of gravity here, right? Period. And if your magma boots aren't activated, the force from the people putting pressure on you will keep you essentially suspended in this space. But this is not strapped in. This is not seated. There's no champagne served. There's no food served, and there's nowhere to store your luggage. You just have to hold on to it. And
I don't have any.
you don't have anything past your backpack, so it's not too difficult. But I will say you do notice that there are people so close it could be potentially dangerous and everything. I need you to make a recon check.
What?
Yeah, just be recon it.
Get your last 90
Difficulty
bucks
8.
Do an ocular pat down.
I gotta just unskill it.
It's difficulty 8,
Oh,
and it's int is the base skill.
can't
You got
read.
-3.
-4. All right. There is like a bump that happens as the car takes off and you begin to head towards Prospera station. As it does so, you kind of feel yourself sort of roll back into a small crowd of people. One of them kind of like pushes you back up, and you look back and you don't really see who it was or anything, but yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for
And
pushing me back into place.
30 minutes or so go by, and you eventually are squeezed like human toothpaste from a tube as the door is opened on the other side. The view for you as you approach is just the backs of people's heads and stuff. There's no screens on the side to let you see how far you've come. There's no beautiful vista as you approach Prospera station. There's none of that. But 20 minutes ago or so, in a beautiful adorned dining car, sipping on perhaps some of the finest champagne you've ever had, with wraparound views, we have the other members of the crew who now take in the beautiful sight of Prospera Station in gleaming whites and grays as little sparkles of light all around it. It's a beautiful sight. It looks
This place is magnificent.
very different from Ganymede Harbor.
Yes, quite.
But for you, only a few
We chink
more minutes.
our little,
You are eventually
Put back to
slowed
ISIS.
down. You are eventually slowed down as the car approaches Prospera Station, and the screens begin to display, for some of them, information, but you still see beyond that the view, and the information essentially is routing information, where to go in Prospera, and ads, lots and lots of advertisements that pop up, but not very loud intrusive ones, but they are indeed ads for hotels, for restaurants, for shopping. Prospera Station is sort of a shopping mecca for the people of the outer system. It's one of the, you know, people come here to have children because of the magnetosphere and stuff quite often, so to help with fetal development.
Schools.
And so it does have a lot of advertisements for like natal services and stuff like that as well that you'll see. It's a pretty interesting mix, but think like very deep, clean cyberpunk, where there's a lot of advertisements for like different types of food, not just restaurants, but like the actual like people that are like the farming companies and stuff that are producing, you know, it's basically the breadbasket of the outer system here. So you're seeing all kinds of stuff about that. It's quite the sight, and kind of almost like you're being bombarded by it a little bit as you approach. But then once you do and the car stops and the doors open, you easily exit, and the first thing you notice, besides how clean and beautiful Prospera Station is as you exit, is first, there's no security on this side, like, you know, to stop you as you're exiting or anything like that, because you've already passed through. There's no kiosks to check in with or anything. It's like you're stepping into something that might be familiar to some of you. On Luna, there's a park where once in the past a space station landed. You might remember that. That park is the second largest in the solar system that goes beyond the bounds of Earth. This is the first. The interior here is unlike the interior of any space station you've probably been on. Dwarfed perhaps only by structures on world. Though that image of skyscrapers heading off into the distance is realized here, as you can see down/up in certain directions. The images are transposed on screens on the walls that are so crystal clear and crisp they appear as windows, and as you move past them, there is a parallax that occurs in 3D, as each of these are combined images from multiple visual sensors on the exterior of the station. Beyond, you see the majesty of Jupiter, and you feel the warmth of it almost like it's a glowing star through these screens that they themselves project vitamin D light. There are waterfalls here, though they aren't tall, and they trickle more than they pound water into their respective little pools. There are waterfalls here, and within the small pools, there are fish. Some of them are even real, the others holographic, and they seem to swim around one another, almost recognizing one another. It's beautiful and very different from what you just came from Ganymede Harbor. The wealth on display here is shocking, and then you're reminded that until very recently, the passage between these two was restricted. The workers that provided most of this wealth were never allowed here. But now they are, and you see a mixture. Doom. It was up Lunatic. But you see a mixture of folks that almost still have that shocked look on their face, like they are themselves seeing some of this for the first time. Perhaps it takes a while for it to sink in. The foul harbinger. So, as you step out, the second thing that you're hit with, besides this view and how clean it is and all of that, is the smell. It is different. It's almost like the smell of a field of grass. There's a slight bit of decay behind it, like some of it is wet grass, fermented. And then some of it is very fresh, and there's an almost constant and noticeable breeze that moves here at Ganymede. the air is much fresher than what you're used to on a station. And you realize that that's probably because it has the most sophisticated scrubbing system of any station in the solar system. And it also has a lot of organic material with all of the farms here. There's sort of
what I imagine Earth smells like. Isaac,
Yeah.
am I right?
He's not with us yet.
He's not
Oh
there.
yeah, shit. I
Turn
say
back.
the
Oh
comms,
yeah.
which he doesn't get either.
Yeah, yeah. And you wander out kind of in this park for a few moments, taking in the sights around you. I imagine it's probably pretty shocking. I mean, there's no rocket here in the middle of it, but it is a park with holographic birds flying in the skies. If you look up, there is a like simulated sky with like holographic clouds and stuff that move. There are pathways that take you to, you know, with signs that you can read that, you know, take you to the business districts, etc., all around the station. But it's a city. This is not like stepping in where it's like, oh, the stores are there, right? It's like New York. These are like head to the boroughs of the city. There are literally thousands of people that you can see with just your eyes right now in this space, because it curves up and around. Imagine the interior space of some of Babylon 5, right? Some of these large curving spaces. You're looking out over gardens, over beautiful spaces that don't just stretch out in one direction. They stretch upwards and curl around all the way. If you look up, you see projected clouds in the middle. But if you focus and you look past that, past the blur, you just see more parks, more waterfalls, and more people walking and admiring the clouds above their heads. And you, beyond that. And so I'll give you guys about 10, 15 minutes of just wandering around, kind of checking things out. Here, I would say, at this point, Isaac is getting close, but not quite there. What do you guys do in this time?
Do I see any grass?
Oh yeah, there's grass. There's lots of
I'm
grass.
gonna touch some grass.
So there are sections where you are allowed to like walk around and touch it, but you do see a lot of it, the natural areas where actual like flowers and stuff are being grown, are like roped off. But
I'll find one that's definitely.
But there are
not
places where you're
restricted.
absolutely, yeah, there are literally like stone paths through ponds surrounded by grass and stuff that you can just walk on. And you'll see kids like playing on them and stuff. And even as you get past that, you can see that there are small ponds where there's literally people swimming in them. So it's not like you're not allowed to get in some of them.
I'll be right back, guys. And I'm taking off my shoes as I'm running towards the grass.
Okay. Yeah. You walk on the
And
grass.
I'll find
and
some water to walk through a little bit in my ankles, get my feet
It's very
wet.
loamy. Like when you step on the grass, it's if you have been on Earth and you have walked on the ground of Earth, you would notice that most of that's much harder packed than this. This feels squishy, like you're stepping onto a sponge that the grass is growing up out of, not instead of soil. But it squishes
Feels
between
real
your
to me.
toes. It feels real. It is grass. It is literally like growing plants. And it smells very fresh and probably very noticeable if you're not used to that kind of a scent.
Yeah, I stick my face in it.
It's like
I'm just gonna lay in it for a little bit.
smells a
Keep
little
my
bit like
eyes on
people's
the rest
feet,
of the group.
but other than that,
Nice.
Well, we definitely look like we're not from around here now.
what are the rest of you doing while Lean is squishing grass between their toes? Getting their socks wet.
I'll look for like an information kiosk.
Discovers a fatal grass allergy.
Oh no! What's happening to my skin?
Sorry, you're pulling up the kiosk to do what?
Just information.
Okay. So yeah, there's tons of stuff. It's basically like a search dialogue comes up. So what do you type in?
That building we were told to go to close out the contract.
Okay. So you do see that is one of the adjunct
Illegal
government
or
offices.
illegal?
The what? Yeah.
The legal one? Right?
The legal job, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the adjunct government offices. It's not very far from where you're at. It's like if you could take a pod to it if you want, to get there faster, or you could walk to it. It would probably take you about maybe longer, depending on like the rolls, because it's like you're walking through a city. Probably take you like an hour and a half to walk to it. It'd probably take you like 30 minutes by pod.
All right. For now, I'll just mental note where it is, how to get there.
Okay. It's not too complicated to get around. When you do
like
that,
bumpkin.
when you actually do try and get there, I will like make you make some rolls, but I'll make it easier because you're like planning out the route now. These things are good. I love these sun chips. Like garden salsa ones. They're not spicy. I wish they were, but
Sounds pretty good.
they're pretty
I
good.
would tell Billy I'll be right back, and I would run to some kind of like mall kiosk, type thing, and get some kind of trinket that captures the beauty of this.
Oh yeah,
place.
if you're looking for like a gift shop, the park will literally have like a gift shop basically right there as you come out. That's just like little miniatures and like snow globes and stuff of the station, like
Yeah.
floating in space, all kinds of stuff
Yeah,
like
exactly. That's kind of what we're looking for.
that. Okay.
So I'll get some kind of trinket.
All right. So yeah, make me a roll, and I'll just depending on how high you roll, depending on how cool it is, just 2d6.
Okay. I keep losing my foundry.
Trying to do?
I got it.
Making 2d6
Buy a
roll.
trinket. And 4.
Okay, yeah, I mean it's just like a little model of the station with the cable in between them, kind of like a little post that comes out of what looks to be like a spun piece of wood that's decorated around the side and has like a little plaque, like a little bronze plaque on it that says Prospera Station on one side, and then on the other side, as the cable wraps around, it says Ganymede Harbor on the other. And it's decent. It's not like inside of a snow globe. It's not perfectly detailed or anything. The one cool thing about it is that like it does spin very slowly for both of them, so you do see that as you kind of hold it up. Upon closer inspection, you can see the wood isn't real wood. It looks to be pressed algae, which is fairly common. That algae is used in the scrubbers aboard station, and then gets pressed into logs and used for various types of fuel and sometimes construction material and stuff like that. So it's like it's like wood without a grain, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's not
Enjoy
bad.
that, and then wrap it up and stow it in the luggage.
All right, note that on your sheet, otherwise we will not remember it, and I need to have some way of seeing you have it later. Harvest cheddar is good. I have some of those over there as well. I like
The name of
those,
the
yeah.
park wasn't Hope's Landing, was it?
Hope's Landing is the park on Luna.
Oh, it is the park name? Okay.
That's the park on Luna. You haven't seen a name for this park.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the Luna park name.
Yeah, well, you pulled up the information. Bailey did, so you would have seen that it's Prospera Park. But it's literally like imagine the cylinder, right? This is a cylinder wraps all the way around, so it's like a giant ring that goes all the way around. It's like a big stripe in the middle of the thing. That whole thing
Central
is Prospera
Park.
Park. Yeah, but if Central Park was a big ring,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And then there's like clouds in the middle that you look up in the 0G area, like near where on the other side would have been the cable, right? But that's all holographic. That's all fake. It's not actual clouds. It's just to give you the illusion of there being sky above your head. But that's the same for everybody all the way around the ring, right? Like, yeah. So yeah. Anything else you do? We got Lean squishing their toes. We got Paris buying a model from the gift shop right there at Prospera Park. And we got Bailey looking through the kiosks to plan out the route. Is there anything else you want to do before Isaac arrives?
No, I'm just going to take in the smells of the fresh foliage and greenery and kind of, I figure Lean probably is accustomed to taking advantage of as much open air above their head as possible whenever they get it.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of enjoying
that makes
the
sense,
fact
yeah.
that I have room above my head.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, after another like 20 minutes or so, Isaac, your pod arrives, and as I described before, you are essentially squeezed like human toothpaste out of this crowded compartment and spilled into
Completely
the
different
cool air
experience.
of Prospera Station. The loading area, however, for your pod is different. You stopped at a different part. You don't actually exit straight into Prospera Park. You exit into the industrial connection area directly adjacent to that, where many workers
People immediately
kind of
cough in your face.
go around. But it's not bad. Like the environment here is still decent and clean and stuff. It's just very like rigid, kind of brutalist structures. Like you don't see up above you or anything like that. It's like corridors that you're walking through with people, and you're just kind of following the flow of foot traffic as you step out. Like, I guess this is the way I go because it's literally the only way I can go. Kind of like when you're coming off of a plane at an airport and you're like looking around and you're going, oh, there's an arrow pointed that way, I guess. Yeah, all right. Eventually, though, you round one of these corridors, feeling the gravity beneath your feet now as you've moved further from that central area right on the lift as the pod has moved. And step out rounding the corner, and there you do see Prospera Station. But before you see it, you smell it. You smell the fresh grass. You smell what you might actually describe as being similar to Earth, falling back to Lean's previous question to nobody. But you might actually smell that, and it might catch you by surprise if you haven't been here. You probably would also hear the trickle of distant water as in these larger but not like hard water fountains, and that's because the gravity isn't at a full G where you are here, but it's close. It's at about 7.5 G here on Prospera Station. It's comfortable. The air is cool, which is very different than the pod you just left, where the air was basically out of the lungs of the guy behind you on your neck. You round that corner and are met by the sight of children splashing around in a pool, and
Oh, I see Lean.
and I would say probably not too far from that you would see Lean. Yeah, they're about 150 meters away from where you would be now.
Well, we'll start walking towards them.
Okay. Two things. You're like, oh, cool, there's Lean, and you begin walking over towards them, and you look down kind of like with your backpack and pull your backpack around to like adjust your stuff, and you look down and your credit chit is gone.
I knew you got fucking pickpocketed. I knew you got fucking
Motherfucker.
pickpocketed. I can't believe you didn't check. I'm glad. I was like, man, I should say something.
You go into kind of a bit of a panic for a moment, looking around. Your extra magazine is also gone.
You mother.
And that's
It
it.
took you. You still have your gun.
You should technically still have two magazines. Or you should set, you had two magazines. One is missing.
I have
You had 10 magazines, sorry.
10. Yeah.
10. So one of your magazines is missing.
Damn.
Yeah, one is in the gun. That's why they're separated like that.
Okay. Well, just one is missing. And then
That's not intentional. That's because I was testing earlier.
sure.
That's why it says 14 out of 15 there as well.
Gotcha.
So I'll fix that. But yeah.
Yeah, so just one is missing, and then 90 credits are now missing because your chit is missing entirely.
My whole life savings, 90 credits gone.
Dang.
But you do see Lean there, who I would say at this point, Lean, you can decide if you want to notice Isaac back coming out of this space, or if you're just too like into the nature to notice.
Go
It's up to
find
you.
that motherfucker that bumped into me.
I'll
Roll
see
initiative,
him.
motherfucker.
I probably see him
That's
like
right,
looking
yeah.
for something, and I'll stand up, take a big old sniff of fresh air, and then kind of like wave at him. Isaac, what's wrong? And I'll walk
I'm
over
like
to him.
looking around the crowd, trying to see if I can find the guy that might look like he had his breath on my neck.
I'm right here. who are you looking for?
I see Lean, and I'm just like, fuck it. go over, start walking the lane.
I'll let you make a recon check, but it's going to be an extremely high difficulty because you already failed the first one.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very unlikely
I
that you're
don't
going to
have
succeed on
recon.
that.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have, you don't have
I
recon,
don't
do you?
care. No, I don't care that much either.
Well, at least it's only 90 credits.
Being poor doesn't pay in this universe.
That's true. I'm glad that that's coming across.
Silver lining of being poor. When
You don't have any more credits to
from, it
steal.
doesn't really
That is the
matter.
upside, yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're free.
All right, yeah. So you step
Yeah.
up to Lean. You can
What's
see in the
up,
distance
Lean?
Bailey is at a kiosk, kind of looking through and swiping through stuff. And then Paris is probably, I would just say, just to get you guys all together, like about this time,
Yeah,
walking out
probably
of
done,
your
so I would
your
approach,
shop,
yeah.
like rolling up your bag or whatever it is that you got.
Oh, hey. And I'll sort of just jog over and, hey, Isaac, how'd everything go?
There it is.
What's up? We're all good.
Here it is. You see this
okay,
part?
Great.
FYI,
yeah, it's
Solbeck
incredible.
Industries isn't
It's No Hope's
thing
Landing, but-
anymore.
Say that again, Isaac?
Solbeck Industries isn't a thing anymore. It's been dissolved.
Wait, really?
Technically, here in the Jovian system, that is true. That's what they
Okay,
were
I
saying.
was gonna say, all right, yeah. So the
So what do
logo
we do?
All
So
assets
we're
from
absorbed.
Solbeck and all things have
we're
been
dealing with
transferred to them.
The government now.
So are we still getting
So-
paid for that job?
Yeah, that's probably why we have to go to this government
they'll-
building to get paid.
Yeah, but they'll
Yeah,
pay us.
That's
Sure.
exactly why. Yep. Because it's been dissolved here. So
Where do we have
Contracts,
to
contracts.
unload our own luggage? I'll look at Bailey.
Let's get paid first.
Okay. You want to hold on to this thing all the way till then? Take this all the way to the provisional government?
I paid for the cart. I might as well.
Technically speaking, the provisional government's headquarters is in basically the middle of the cylinder, and where you do have to take this is all the way on the other end of the cylinder. And a section of the station that you saw on there is woefully missing of lots of labels, whereas like most of the station has lots of businesses and stuff labeled and residential areas. This is just listed as gray sector, the whole area.
So, I mean, it's on the way. Might as well take it.
Alright. Is it on the way?
Yeah. I'll pull up a little comm and show you the planned route.
Laughing at Lunatic.
Alright, yeah, I guess let's do the damn thing. Let's get paid, let's drop this thing off and get our ship.
So are you gonna rent a pod or are you going to walk?
It's like 5 miles.
It's about an hour and a half walk through the station because it's fairly circuitous. It would take you about 30 minutes by pod.
How much is a pod?
100 credits a day.
Everything
think
Well,
we got
100
Isaac's
credits for
gonna walk.
24 hours to be specific, because it's space, whatever. But
we can get a pod. That's
Look at you, Mr. Moneybags, Bailey. I mean, sir, as the people that helped us
Your
out here
Honor.
called you. What's the deal with all that special treatment?
8 years military service
Damn. I guess it's too late for me for that, but
for the winning side.
that definitely changes things. Well, sir.
I'll
guess
get
I'll follow your lead,
I'll
like
cover
I
the
said.
pod.
Oh, look at you.
All right, so you go up to the kiosk, check out a pod. There's different choices you can make, not for like color and stuff, but
I
basically
want
like
a fast one.
how luxurious you want it to be. But they don't like go different
Pod
speeds.
race.
They're all like they're all like standard. They're basically golf carts. So we're clear. They're basically golf carts that have like special routes that they can go on that you can't walk on normally and stuff.
Just strapped to them.
But if you wanted to get something that's like really comfortable, you can pay like 110 credits. If you wanted to get something that's kind of ratty or whatever, you basically still are just paying 100 credits. So if you want to pay 10 extra credits, you can get something nice, but otherwise it's 100 credits.
Getting a regular ass one. We don't want to look too
Yeah,
fancy
it's not
in the gray sector.
It's nothing too unexpected. Like I said, it's basically a golf cart. You do notice that the wheels themselves can inflate and deflate and be made magnetic, which is fairly common to traverse different levels of stations like this. And as you rent it out, it drives out of a small garage. The opening slides open from the wall where it was at, and it drives out on its own. You can see there's no like steering wheel on it. It is sort of just like a flat see-through piece of glass that once you sit down in it, a little display comes up and you can put in destinations and it'll automatically route them. And it does have some override on there too if you like need to move it or like park it or something manually. It will let you do some of that, but it looks like it only lets you drive on like routes, like on what it would define as routes that are capable. So you can't like take it up over like a quote-unquote sidewalk or whatever that would be, because it literally won't drive on it. It only sees these certain routes, which if you look through the like glass are highlighted like holograms instead of essentially in front of you, and you can even fold it up towards the full like windscreen, which it doesn't actually have a windscreen, but it kind of becomes one and you can see through it. But you don't have to pilot it the whole way. You can just be like, take me to here, and it'll be like highlighting red sector, and then you'll just follow it. As you load it up with your luggage and stuff, a basket basically folds on the back that you can lift up everything into, and it locks it down and then gets strapped down to it for when you're moving through the null gravity areas. But yeah, it's a comfortable golf cart.
As like pickpocket runs, it jumps in the driver's seat and flies off with all of our stuff and our package in the back.
All right. So you guys get in your pod, I assume?
Yep.
And begin to head towards the government offices. All right. Again, it takes you like 30 minutes. The first thing you do is the cart like winds past a corner, goes up through a central part of this park, kind of following a long and somewhat what's the word? Scenic kind of path through the park, showing waterfalls and different areas of the park, and even past certain restaurants, and you see other carts going automatic. You have an opportunity to talk amongst yourselves as you do. As it exits the park, it enters into an area that is almost like a closed tunnel, and it is almost the exact width of the car that you're in when you enter into the tunnel. So once you're outside of that huge space that is the park where you can see all the way up, it feels very like claustrophobic as you move between layers. And then as you come out of different layers, once again the sky opens up before you in certain places, but in others it's very tight, and there's more and more of that as you head further and further away from Prospera Park. And you can see that there are habs on the sides that you move through where people live and stuff in certain areas. Some of them nicer than others, but some of them are beautiful places that must border the park. They must be incredibly expensive. There are hotels that do. But as you leave the park area and head towards the middle of Prospera Station, you see less and less of that, and the structures become more and more densely packed together. The population rises. You see more and more of these carts until you are finally in your first traffic jam that takes one single cart that was briskly heading down this path and turns it into a small train of carts that, because they're mostly automated, still move. You're not stuck moving, but everything's slowed down a bit, and you can literally like see the people in front of you just kind of waiting on their journey, the people in front of them, and then them and them and them, until it rounds past the visual horizon of the station. And eventually About 30 minutes later, your cart turns through what looks to be another small opening, and then once more, the ceiling spills away from you, but this time not all the way to the center, only about 40 or so meters up from your angle, to where you can see structures here built into the side, as well as many signs denoting various government offices. What do you do? As the cart then pulls out in front and automatically parks in a small green space, and a little indicator pops up that it is locked in for its destination. I will also say, since you're parked here, you can see you're not being charged for parking at the government facility, but that would let you know that at certain other places you would be charged.
Sweet.
If y'all want to go in, I can wait here and watch the cart.
You sure?
Well, I should probably stay outside, so...
Okay.
Okay.
You
Fair
two
enough.
handle that cart, and we'll handle the documentation, I guess.
So grateful they're not charging us parking. Generous.
Compared to the other parts of the station, it is.
I'll take it where I can get it. All right,
Other
Lane,
parts
come
of the
on.
station, you lose
Yep.
stuff. They take it away from you.
You had such a vastly different experience than we all did.
I mean,
Alright,
that's,
guys.
that's why most of the time you gotta keep your backpack in front of you, not on your back. But that's most other places.
All right,
Anyway,
Yeah.
which
let's
room are we going to?
It's pretty good, huh?
They'll probably have a kiosk. Let's go.
all right. I'm with you, Bailey. See y'all in a little bit. Bye.
All right, so it's one of the adjunct offices here. It takes you a minute to find where you need to go. It's sort of like you walk into this space, this is the wrong office. You walk into another one, wrong office. Walk into a third, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the right place, but there's a small line. You wait in line, you realize that line is just a line to get a number to wait in line. And so then you have a number to go up when your number is called. It's not like printed or anything. It's just either if you have a hand terminal, it'll pop up on that. Otherwise, you just got to remember it. It's like a 3-digit number, so you're not sure if there's 100 people or you're ahead of you or behind you or anything like that. And you end up waiting probably about another 45 minutes, just however many of you are standing there, waiting to be served. Once you are served, you approach and it is literally just a kiosk with a person standing behind it who just says, "You got contracts?"
Yep.
All right, so let's check them in then. I need to see ID, what's your name, and I need to see the contract.
Here's the contract. Name's Bailey McNevin.
All right, Mr. McNevin. Oh, I see.
Pilot Jolene's Folly.
Right, this is all taken care of. So this was a Soderbeck Industries contract. You understand that Soderbeck Industries aboard Ganymede Harbor as well as Prospera Station has been dissolved as an industry, and all assets have been claimed, including contracts and debts. Due to the complications of the transference, not all contracts will be paid at full. However, we will make sure you are paid properly. What is the debt here? Let's see. And this is me, the GM, actually looking for my notes now.
I'm getting the full amount.
I think it was only like 8 to 10 grand total.
It was a bonus anyway. It's a great idea to get a ship job like that to get us out here.
All right, Mr. McNevin, you'll be paid out in full the amount of 8,000 credits and another 600 credits in hazard pay. So 8,600 credits total.
Fantastic.
Thank you for doing business aboard Prospera Station. Should you seek new contracts, you can do so at your standard kiosks. Just note that the current relationship between ourselves and the corporate council is a bit rocky, so we suggest taking local contracts only while here. Thank you very much, Mr. McNevin. And then there's
Thank you.
a brief pause, and then I almost forgot. And then there's this as well, and you see he punches up a couple of buttons that are on his side of the kiosk, and then like a little indicator pops up on the completion of the contract, and you yourself as a pilot on your license is applied essentially a point of recognition.
Thank you.
That'll denote to other businesses here in the area that you are a able-bodied pilot who has completed contracts locally. So you have been vouched for by the provisional government. Thank you, Mr. McNevin.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have
gentlemen.
a wonderful day.
You as well. Next, please. Do you walk away?
Worked out.
So, 8,600 credits.
All right. Not bad. It was a bonus anyway. Now we can eat.
Yeah, you step out of the
After
offices.
we get my shit.
About 45 minutes later, to see Isaac out there with who stayed out and who went in.
Isaac and I both stayed out.
Okay, so you were just waiting out there for them to basically come in. You would have seen government workers coming and going, as well as other people moving between like shopping areas and stuff like that, as well as the haves. It's very busy. The sights and smells of the station are overwhelming to some degree. If you've ever been somewhere like in real life, like New York where it's busy, or even DC, I know you've been there, there can be moments where you're like overwhelmed by the amount of people you're seeing, but you do eventually kind of get used to being in the crowd as well. And as you're sitting here having your conversation or whatever between the two of you, you would almost not notice Lean and Bailey as they came out, because it's just one of the many people around you, and then suddenly they would emerge from the crowd within this space. But yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about something between the two of you before they arrive, now is your opportunity, but otherwise you wait 45 minutes and they come out.
Isaac, everything was okay with the checkpoint back there?
Yeah, for the most part. Issues with Solidbeck apparently still, but
Oh, about that mess back on Earth? Yeah, that's weird that they bring that up, but
I kind of thought it was all in the past, since on this this job, but apparently there was going to be some issues, or in the changing of hands, all that, with the government, maybe just one of those things that they were trying to close out, and maybe Solidbeck doesn't really care anymore. I don't know. Well, that shit's weird. It's always been weird.
In the middle of
Well,
your
you got through
conversation,
anyway.
a gentleman with green hair, down to about his waist, tied in two very tight kind of ponytails that kind of go up and down, kind of over his shoulders, and are dyed multiple other colors kind of as they approach. He has a beard that's braided into two braids, and face tattoos on one side of his face to denote kind of the former worker class of Ganymede Harbor. He walks straight up to you, Isaac, and like looks you up and down and goes, "Isaac, it's been good to see you. Yeah, I'm so happy you could come here." And goes to like shake your hand very like briskly as you're kind of confused. What do you do?
I look a little confused, and I will shake his hand though, and
It's been great. It's been great. Listen. Look us up at Mother's. Yeah. Oh man. It smacks you on the shoulder and walks away. There is a small chip in your hand that he left behind.
Okay.
Not a credit check, to be clear.
10 million credits. What?
2,000 credits.
You got reverse
You know that guy Isaac? That was weird.
That was weird. I mean,
You don't recognize his face.
I mean, not that I remember. I mean, I've met a lot of people, but you know. But
Okay, fair enough.
apparently, he said, "Go to Mother's." So I guess let's go find Mom.
So your mom's not
About
on
that
Gimme?
time, Lean and Bailey walk out.
No.
How'd it go?
We got paid,
Great.
not all of it, but
Wait,
it was a bonus anyway. So I think it's time to get my ship, though. What do you guys say?
Not all of it. I got 10 magazines left. What do you mean, not all of it?
here you
Everything,
How much did we
uh,
get paid?
21.50
You guys hold the fort
each.
down, all right?
50 each. Hell yeah.
21.50 each. Yes.
We got a
Pretty
little place we need to swing by.
You have to give Isaac
And find.
a new chit. So you have to give it to everybody else and then give them the old chit because Isaac doesn't have a credit chit to transfer to.
You lost your. You've been here like 3 hours.
How
If
did you lose
that.
your chip?
I've been through some stuff.
You
I mean,
are
you guys
not
know
a
how
massive-
rough that ride was down here. Come on.
The champagne
shit
We're
was
doing the
crazy.
champagne? You drink too much champagne,
Champagne?
Isaac?
You
I mean, it was.
Yeah,
good,
I know,
but
Tommy
yeah,
Talking about
Wrong.
my parking.
I get it.
champagne. You must have had slightly different experiences.
I guess so. That's what it sounds like.
Well,
I love
some-
this place.
So some guy just came up to Isaac and just told him to go to Mother's.
Wait, just now?
Yeah, you just missed him.
Yeah, and he gave me this.
How did I seem to know you, Isaac?
And I hold this.
So you're holding it up. Bailey, you would recognize that as a encrypted military chip.
Oh.
They're used for weapon systems, transfer of highly secure information, etc.
I hope you know what that is.
I do not know what this is.
May I see it?
Sure.
All right.
Breaks it.
I'll connect it to my handheld and see what it says.
ID not verified. Appears on your screen as soon as you connect it.
Oh, fuck. Guess it's gotta be yours. Hey, let me see your comm.
Okay.
You still have that, right?
Yes. It was not working though. Maybe they've unblocked me since I have access now. I haven't checked it.
I'll plug it into Isaac's.
As soon as you plug it into Isaac's, it activates. There is a video that begins to play immediately.
I'll get shoulder to shoulder with him.
Welcome to the
Shoulder.
cause centipede. That's all it plays. Then it cuts out and you just see a stream of data ticking by. It's very confusing. But Isaac, you would recognize many of the dates as being former protests that you had taken part of in your youth, as well as a number of names of certain individuals that were part of multiple corporations that you had protested in the past, as well as names of members that you recognize from some of the Jovian corporations that you didn't protest in the past. And they began to be X'd out, deceased, 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 deceased. And then finally, at the end, you see your name. Ting, 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 ting. Active. And then scrolls by and you see just this picture of a centipede. Literally like a earth centipede, but like almost like a a drawing, like a cartoonish drawing of one, and then it moves like an animation, like it's crawling past something and begins to kind of piece by piece fall apart, and something about it is deeply recognizable to you, Isaac. It's something that you haven't seen in a really long time. But the organization that you had worked with in the past, the most violent of them, they had a calling card. It wasn't a centipede, but it was this sort of raindrops on glass kind of GIF-like animation that would play, that they would project with like holographic graffiti, basically, in certain places. And it absolutely is that exact same loop that plays until it coalesces at a puddle at the bottom of just pure black. And it goes away, and you are left with a singular HAB address here on Prospera Station. And it flashes, bring ammunition. And then it erases itself.
I'll hand him his pad back.
You now have
And
a blank encrypted data chip.
Explain what kind of chip that was, how it was military and all that. I think you got recruited.
Okay. Well, I recognize some things there.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that.
What the hell's going on?
Those
Are
are
these
all
people out
good
of the-
questions, but let's do that while we walk. We got a while.
Are these people
Well, ride.
out for the package?
Cross-reference both addresses.
They are both in Gray Sector, but they are technically on opposite sides of Gray Sector.
Ah,
I
good.
mean,
Well,
we can't risk our ship. We gotta do what we agreed to do, I think.
Right, we're here
Yeah.
for one thing only.
Yeah,
Well,
then we
first
can
and
figure out
foremost,
this other
this
thing.
first, and if we have time, we can go play with your.
Your military
Criminals.
friends.
If we have time, we'll join the revolution. If we can fit it in.
Seems
All
like
right,
you're the last
let's
operative
get-
they
let's
have,
go.
though. Am I reading that right?
Or
I-
you could just trash that and get a new phone.
No,
Like someone's
think
trying
I'm
to kill
gonna
you.
go.
I was like,
and I'll meet you guys back.
Wait,
You
really?
you don't want us for a gunfight, potential gunfight.
Well,
your name's on the list of a bunch of deceased people. I don't think it's a good idea for you to separate.
Sounds like a trap.
I'm worried about you. It could be a government setup, to be honest. They might be trying to see if you are going
still
to
in
get
the
involved
revolution.
in shady activities.
You've never seen the guy that gave you that data chip?
no,
Would
Get a
do you think you
tattoo
would
like
recognize
on
him?
his side, like a
But,
worker. It's like
You did recognize
Yeah.
the
that.
workers we used to talk to.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
we're getting in the car and going.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we?
It's about another hour to
Wow.
get to Gray Sector as you
Isaac was
wind
saying
around the station this
he was
way,
gonna-
corkscrewing.
Should you want to come with us for this thing, Isaac? We trust you. It's up to you.
You know me. If you're going for a gunfight, I'm with you.
the
You
I
guys
mean,
are scaring me.
everywhere I go, I have to declare myself, and I'm, not exactly very welcome. So
Isaac, you're welcome with us.
So don't get shot and have to go to the hospital. Right.
All right, so what are you guys doing? You're getting in the cart?
What's your move, Isaac? We're waiting on Isaac to tell us what he's doing.
All right, well, say you're
Well-
sitting there, like 3 of you in the cart, and he's sitting there, like trying to decide what to do. You're talking to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We can. I do want to deal with this though, but we can go.
We will. After this thing is clear,
We got your
after.
we're
back.
rid of it. We'll follow you wherever you want to go.
Yeah, once we get my ship, we're a crew.
At least till we see what this is all about. Yeah, we might.
You know,
yeah,
I'll shoot
our
somebody
ship.
for you.
I don't.
No one's getting shot today.
I really want to bring everybody into this whole situation, but
Too late.
I guess
We're a
let's
team.
do it. All right. Let's do
Get
it.
in. Pat the seat.
You get in the cart and begin the journey towards Gray Sector. It doesn't take too long, about an hour, to get there, so you have time kind of to discuss things. You're passing by multiple businesses and stuff as you go. Eventually, it ends up being mostly habs. And eventually, it becomes very dense. The habs are very small. And there is a security checkpoint that you drive up to for the cart for Gray Sector. You begin to stop to go through the checkpoint. And that's when you notice there is no checkpoint to go in, only to come out. You kind of slowly ride past, and you can see the people here are perhaps a bit more desperate looking, less wealthy, a lot more of those worker tattoos. The place around you is still clean, still gleaming whites and grays and polished surfaces. A few more exposed wires as maintenance is being done, but it's an area of the station that you can see has much less security. You're not sure if that's intentional or not, but you do notice that there are businesses here. Some of them representing corporations and businesses that may not technically be allowed to operate in Ganymede. They don't have big signs hanging out front to say, hey, we're, Solbeck Industries or anything like that, but you do actually see logos for some of those. Some of them just literally written in chalk on a door as you move past. And that might lead you a little bit to understand what's happening here in the Gray Sector. But before too long, you arrive at the address that you were meant to drop the package off. Outside of it, this tight corridor that you have to eventually park and then walk through for probably there's no like official parking here. You just kind of have to stop eventually because the cart won't go past anymore because, again, like I said, it only rides on certain surfaces. You have to get out and lock it down and then continue your walk, and it's probably another 500 meters or so of walking, about half a kilometer to get to the address. And it's a tight corridor where you're at, but it's not a crowded one. It's just small. And there's a door, not at the end of it, but just along the side. And you see 2 large, what can only be described as heavily armed robots, standing out front of the door. At least you see them well before you see the door itself. Part of you is like, man, I hope that's not our door. Ah, shit, it's our door. As you approach, both of them look down at you. They don't say anything. They don't even react beyond looking at you. But after looking you up and down briefly, the door slides open. They just stand there, awaiting you to enter. The interior of the space is dark. So dark you literally can't see within. What do you do?
I have a feeling about this. I'll walk in.
Sort of nod my head, walk on in.
Greetings, gentlemen. Do
Towing
be
the,
careful and watch your step. No sudden
Turn the light
moves. Sorry, no.
What, you can't see in here?
Well, I can see just fine.
No, I meant him. Her.
I pull out my night vision goggles from my bivy pack.
Yep. There are. You can see in here a little bit. You can't quite make out the features. You can't quite make out the features of the guy as you begin to pull it up. But as you do, he will say, "You're gonna want to put that down, sweetheart."
I do that.
All right. So I'm glad we've got business to deal with here, but there are certain protocols that need to be observed. I'm not going to use your name. You're not going to use mine. I'm never going to give it to you. We fair on that?
Fair enough.
There is one name I will use, but not until this is complete.
What is this?
Is this the package right here? And you can hear some sounds. Sounds like footsteps moving over towards it. For that brief moment you pulled up the night vision, though, you could tell there wasn't one person. There's a crowd in here, but none of them are talking. Just this one guy who's up front. They're all standing. There's no desks. There's no chairs in here. It's an empty room, except for what you... Well, you know what? Since you're only looking for a second, I'll make you roll an int check. Just roll a pure int check, just difficulty 6, to see if you counted how many people are in the room.
That's for everybody.
Check.
Just for lean, only lean.
Okay.
That int, right?
Pure int, difficulty 6. If you don't hit the number, it's fine. It's not a big deal. All right, effect 2. So yeah, you can count there are 12 people in here, including the guy that's talking to you. Of
That's
the
why
12,
I immediately put them back down.
of the 12 people behind him, you can see that they are all heavily armed. I will also say this, since you got that effect, you can tell some of them are not human. They are robots. They are androids of some kind. They're very thin-framed. Most of them, in fact, are that. Because you got that effect, I'll say you can tell you're basically dealing with 6 of them plus 6 humans, including the guy you're talking to, who does appear to be a human from what you could tell, but you couldn't make out his features. You can also... That's not because you didn't look at his face for very long. That's because when you look at him, there is a type of mask, an LED mask, basically, that is on display over his face. You would notice that basically no display can see his face. And I would also say, because of the effect, you've noticed that is not emanating from a hat on his head. That's emanating from a surgical implant on his face. Excellent.
The bags?
So, this is the package, huh? Well done, well done.
Tap it with my foot.
I assume the work wasn't too wet. It's a trick question, I don't care.
Relatively smooth.
You can hear buckling sounds, and Bailey, you feel kind of the cart next to you that wheeled in with you depressed when the straps come loose. Blue diamond, eh? Interesting. Some sliding. There's 2 of the individuals. You can hear heavy movements on either side as the crate is lifted from the cart. And there's a slight thud. All right, open it up. They do so.
Do you want us to leave?
We need to verify. Unless you don't want to get paid.
Shut up.
So you can hear them kind of creaking. Then you hear another voice. It says, "What the fuck is that?" And the other one says, "Well, I'm not sure, honestly, but it meets the description." All right, and it closes up. You hear the ceiling of the box once more.
Cynycal.
What are you
Discord
asking?
DM.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good question. make me a stealth. I would say difficulty 10, and you can be Dex or it.
What's happening?
Hiding something?
Gotta have fun and get souvenirs across the system, and y'all are on this secret shit.
I'm gonna use my boon on this.
Okay.
Whatever
All right.
this is. But yeah,
Ooh.
drop that one.
A moment goes by after they've opened it up, and then they close it. For a brief moment, Bailey, you see this egg-like shape rise from the center of the container, and then it folds out, almost as though it's made of 1,000 pieces that are locked together somehow. It just floats there, and a helix shape, another shape, another, 1,000 shapes in a second, and then folds back down into the box as they close it, and you hear the guy, "What the fuck is that?" And then the other makes the description. Then one of the large figures steps up to you, Bailey, and flicks the glasses off of your head. Like one of robots. Basically grabs them in their hand and then hands them to the guy in front of you there. Ah, tricky then. All right. Srana didn't declare that you had to mention that. We'll just get rid of that for you. And the robot crushes them in his hand. No worries there. Well, you've done a fair job, I have to say. Congratulations, gentlemen and ladies. You find yourself in the employ of one Cornelius Crow. And then the lights turn up for a moment, and you can just see this gentleman whose face is still impossible to see. As the light picks up the LED band around his eyes that you can see, similar to the guy you saw before, but this one down the length of his face and up towards his forehead lights up in a different spectrum, and you're suddenly like, oh god, it's like looking at a camera flash from him. Sorry about that.
You an angel?
But we'll have to have you leave the room, and then we'll give you a payment outside. The door opens, and you can see all of the robots aim their guns at you.
I'll
Does that
step
mean
out.
not getting paid?
He follows you out.
definitely-
He follows you out of the room, directly behind you, and then just says, "Straight from the bank accounts of one Cornelius Crow. Mind that you don't interfere with any of his operations." And you are then awarded a bonus of 3,000 credits each.
Hey, we're retiring.
And I understand that you are looking for purchase of a vessel
Indeed.
from one of our yards here. Might I add that you can use any of the ones from Mr. Crow if you wish. Just be wary to not choose anything too dangerous. There's kind of a moment where you see like a flicker from the lights, and you discern maybe he's winking, but it's like hard to look at him and you can't quite tell. It's just like this glowing face in front of you, like with a man, and your eyes slightly adjust. You still can't quite make out the face, but what you do make out is this incredibly archaic looking suit, just like a business suit that looks like it came from like 1920s, like very odd and out of place. Gentlemen, been a pleasure. I'll be in touch. And he steps back into that room. Your chit now for your actual discount at and everything lights up. Flip, flip. And then Lean, you hear a notification on your hand terminal or whatever comms device you use. You see pop up that you are qualified for a CL as long as you check in at Ganymede Harbor, and you have access to the shipyards there for purchase at a 70% discount. I need you to make a luck roll.
Oh my god.
Pure luck. I'm not going to tell you what difficulty it is, just make it 8. But I'm not going to tell you what difficulty you're actually rolling into that is. You determine that difficulty by the other stuff that you've done up to this point.
Alright, just a straight luck roll at what difficulty again?
You can make it 8, but it doesn't matter because I'm not telling you what the actual difficulty is.
Oh.
It basically like
this one
comes up on your notification that which shipyards you have access to, etc. And it seems like you have access to basically all of the shipyards to pick from, as long as they are, and this is something you do notice, they're all the ones owned by Cornelius Crow that are listed. And you look kind of into it a little bit. Cornelius Crow sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard the name before in multiple places, but it was recently, like, no, really recently, like an hour ago. He's all over those ads. He's running for mayor of Prospera Station. And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh man, you see also that Lean is, her eyes are just wide and almost like just stun locked. Like you see her just, this is huge for her, you can tell.
As our camera spills away from the, or if you're trying to go ahead. If there's any last words between the characters, please do.
I knew we were getting in bed with criminals, but I didn't realize politicians.
I don't give a fuck, Bailey. You pulled it off.
As that's the last thing we hear from you, as the cameras spill away from the group and back into that room, now lit by the from the interior, and the modification on his face lowers, and the camera sees a gentleman with a very handsome face and a very well shaved, well kept look. Though there are a couple of piercings through his left eyebrow. And which is a bit archaic in itself, a little odd. There is a tattoo of a ring around his throat. Goes all the way around and matches a pattern that certain people might recognize. Was common during the Resource War, but has since been kind of adopted by multiple organizations, some of them associated with terrorism, others associated with corporate activism, but mostly just associated with the largest criminal syndicate in the solar system. And we hear a strange sound for a moment. The voice of one of those robots. Beautiful. The world. Beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And it just stretches out into a string of unrecognizable syllables for a moment as we see this gentleman turn towards the robot and squint his eyes. And a single gunshot fires out. He looks down and blood spills from his chest. He looks shocked, falls to his knees, and we see one of his own security androids has just fired on him. Picks up the case and steps out into the hall after like 20 minutes after you guys have left. Then our camera goes black. And that'll be where we pick it up.
Dang.
Damn, yeah.
Wow.
So his
We did
security
it.
android
We did
shot
it,
him and
boys.
picked up the thing.
Yep.
Yeah, we did. We got
But you
paid
don't
and
know
we
that
got our
this is-
CO. Yeah, we didn't see that.
Yeah. So your CL is available for you to pick up at Ganymede Harbor, is what it was saying. So basically, you go
Fuck
to Ganymede
yes.
Harbor, you go to the
Oh my
shipyard, you
God.
can pick up your CL, and then you can buy
We
your
got a
ship.
ship, y'all.
And you got a 70% discount instead of a 60% discount. And now that the session is over, the difficulty class was 6 on that, so you beat it by 1. You got an effective 4.
Oh, very nice. Very fucking nice.
So it
I
started,
don't
it
have
started
any
at 10,
stealth,
and then you moved
by
it
the way.
down depending on what you did.
That was sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't believe we pulled that off. That was crazy as hell.
Like the shades Bailey wears all over the
I don't know what
place
we
all the
just
time.
did.
Our night vision. So when he
Yeah.
walks into a dark room, he just clicks them on like
funny.
with thought.
Anymore.
So that's why he was like, "What, you can't see in here?"
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. One of the robots noticed, basically, his role, and then so they grabbed it and then broke it. Because they weren't taking no bullshit at that point.
At least they,
No. But yeah, and
mean,
you got a
they
bonus, you
murdered
got a
the
bonus of
guy,
3,000 credits each as well. So
Yeah, we got some money.
everybody should have about 5,000 credits at least.
we got
Isaac lost all of his money, but he got
5,500
5,000 credits or so back. So
That's more than you had, I'm sure, right?
it's a profit. Drawing the line at politicians. Nice, Lunatic. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and end it there. Appreciate everybody that came out. Lunatic, awesome to see you, buddy. Everybody should go check out Lunatic Design. They have their own Patreon. They're also on Drive-Thru RPG. They make lots of maps. Really great stuff. I want to thank Syrinscape for providing most of the sounds you hear. We also have some other audio that comes from like Dark Fantasy Studio and other sources as well. They're all attributed in the credits, so I appreciate you guys putting the music together for us. And most of all, I appreciate all the viewers out there that come and hang out and watch us do silly stuff on camera once a week, roughly speaking. Though we have had a couple weeks where we haven't done stuff recently because we've had people out and things like that. Sorry about the lack of a consistent schedule, but we'll try and fix that as we move forward. We've got a couple other campaigns that we can kind of shuffle things in and stuff as well. So we've got Kalis on the fantasy side. We've got Other Skies. We've got a Star Trek game that we're building towards as well. Other Skies should have legs for a really long time and keep going. This is kind of our hard sci-fi game, so I look forward to more sessions of that starting this new arc. So yeah, with that, let's go ahead and go to credits. Thanks everybody. See you next time.
Love you, bye.